Chapter 507. Master? Heavens! Lord Lan, you actually called Wang Kai your master? Am I dreaming? Everyone was shocked. It was hard to imagine that Lan Qianqiu, a heavenly master and the leader of a first-class force, would respectfully call a junior master. Wang Kai, what did you do to my father? Lan Zhiyou's face was gloomy and terrifying. The veins on his forehead bulged. His fierce eyes and angry expression made it seem as though he wanted to tear Wang Kai apart. However, Wang Kai did not care about Lan Zhiyou, who was filled with enmity. If it was anyone else, they would be so furious. If the father and son had not offended him, they would not have ended up in such a state. In the end, it was all fated. In Wang Kai's words, he was looking for trouble, so he deserved it. Swoosh! As Lan Qianqiu attacked Master Su, his body was like a bolt of lightning. The pressure was vast and unstoppable. Along the way, he waved his hand and destroyed the war puppet. There was no resistance. It was as easy as pie. Master Su's eyes narrowed. He immediately lost the will to fight. His face was distorted as he raised his hands and said, "I lost. Prince Lan, please stop." Buzz. However, even though Master Su had admitted defeat, Lan Qianqiu did not stop. Instead, his attacks became even more violent. He came before Master Su and waved his hand to slap him. I lost. I lost. Wang Kai, what do you want? Bang! Master Su shouted in panic. However, Lan Qianqiu had no intention of stopping. He could only watch as the attack came. Master Su's body was slapped to the ground. He closed his eyes and fainted. Swoosh! The war puppet was destroyed. Master Su lost his ability to fight. Lan Qianqiu's body turned into light spots and disappeared. He's too weak. He couldn't even take a slap. If it was me, I wouldn't even be hurt by 1,000 or 10,000 slaps. Life is so boring. Wang Kai shook his head and sighed again and again. His expression seemed to be very lonely. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 100,000 experience points and 100 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the 4th grade Ultimate Divine Realm. The corners of everyone's mouths twitched fiercely when they heard this, and all of them rolled their eyes to express their disdain. Bragging! Bragging! How could a heavenly master be a heavenly master if he could not even defeat an ultimate divine realm? Even an earthly venerable would not be able to withstand a single blow from a heavenly master. Obedient card, Brain Pill. Congratulations to the host for successfully obtaining the Obedient card and Brain Pill. 200 bragging points have been consumed. Patter. As a red and white pill appeared, Wang Kai extended his hand and grabbed it. With a playful expression, he said with a smile, "Men, bring this supreme divine pill that can boost one's cultivation and strengthen one's physique for Master Su to consume. This is made by me. There's no other pill. He'll love it." Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 100,000 experience points and 100 bragging points. How dare you? Don't be disrespectful to Master Su. I swear I won't obey. That's right. We are the future military advisors of the Heavenly Court. Don't be so ungrateful. In an instant, before the soldiers could step forward to receive the pills, they saw the apprentices scolding them harshly with ugly expressions. However, due to the torrential downpour, none of them dared to move an inch. They could only stay where they were, painfully enduring the filth that seemed like it was about to spurt out from their backyards as they screamed and yelled. Looking at their extremely painful expressions, Wang Kai's brows suddenly twitched. Men, receive the pill and feed it to Master Su. The others, beat up these unruly people who disobeyed the military order. Well, you need to beat the shit out of him. Wang Kai shrugged and said. Yes. Many of the soldiers had strange expressions on their faces when they heard this. They felt that it was very interesting and immediately stepped forward to accept the order. Looking at the soldiers who rolled up their sleeves and walked over with unfriendly expressions, the military advisor apprentices all turned pale. Some of them were so scared that they spat out filth on the spot. "Lord Wang, the pill has been fed to Master Su." Very quickly, a soldier hurriedly walked over and reported. When he saw Wang Kai nodding his head in satisfaction, he hurriedly rolled up his sleeves and walked towards those apprentice strategists. Bang! Bang bang! Puff! Puff puff! In an instant, under the sound of being beaten up, there was a frowning sound of feces being spat out. Even the air was pungent and unbearable. "Wang Kai, you give me the antidote. You are my subordinate. You have to support me. You can't harm me like this." Ji Ruxue gritted her teeth and shouted angrily. She felt like vomiting when she smelled the unpleasant smell. However, when she thought that she could end up in the same situation at any time, Ji Ruxue was extremely anxious and ashamed. "I can't cure it. There is no antidote. Your servant is powerless. Master, please pray for yourself." "Ah." Wang Kai pretended to be respectful and bowed with cupped fists. Then, he laughed and returned to the tent. Only Ji Ruxue was left behind. Her eyes were filled with tears and her lips were tightly pursed. She sat on the chair in an extremely aggrieved and ashamed manner. Her eyebrows were knitted together as she endured the pain. If she had another chance, Ji Ruxue would never make an enemy out of Wang Kai again. Now, she was already frightened by his methods and had a psychological shadow. "Master Wang, your subordinate has something to discuss with you. I wonder if..." Ji Baichen's figure stood proudly outside the tent. His expression was still solemn and stiff, but his eyes were filled with a strange expression. "Come in." Wang Kai was lying on the chair with his legs on the long table. One hand was behind his neck, while the other was playing with a fan. Ma Haifeng was lying on the ground beside him. He looked rather carefree and relaxed. When Ji Baichen entered the tent, he cupped his fists and bowed. He went straight to the point and said, "Master Wang, do you wish to obtain the qualifications to enter the reincarnation realm?" "Reincarnation realm." Swoosh. Wang Kai raised his eyebrows when he heard this. He did not expect Ji Baichen to be looking for him to discuss the reincarnation realm. However, it made sense. Now that Ji Baichen had lost to him and lost his commander position, it was impossible for him to obtain the qualifications to enter the reincarnation realm. "Do you wish to cooperate with me to obtain the qualifications to enter the reincarnation realm, or do you wish to help me obtain the qualifications to enter the reincarnation realm?" Wang Kai's eyes narrowed slightly as he asked with a playful smile. Ji Baichen was slightly startled when he heard this. Wang Kai's two questions were directed at the reincarnation realm. However, the meaning behind them was extremely different. If he cooperated with Wang Kai, it meant that they were on the same level. If he helped Wang Kai, he would be a subordinate. As the commander of an army, one could not become one with brute force. Ji Baichen was also the young mansion master of the Ji family's general residence. Naturally, he was very quick-witted. Chapter 508. Sect Master Wang, do you want to cooperate with my Ji family? Ji Baichen frowned and asked. With Wang Kai's ability to command heavenly venerables, Ji Baichen admitted that he was not worthy of Wang Kai's appreciation. Wang Kai meant that if they wanted to cooperate, they would need to rely on the Ji family. As one of the two great generals' mansions that were on par with the three aristocratic families, the Ji family was naturally powerful. That's right. You're smart. Although I can summon Lan Qianqiu, it depends on who I'm dealing with and where I'm going to use him. If I want to snatch the right to enter the reincarnation realm, I'll have to make an enemy out of the 5 camps and use celestial venerables. So, haha. Wang Kai squinted his eyes and smiled. If Wang Kai was not afraid of heavenly venerables, he would not need to cooperate with anyone. However, Wang Kai was only a hierarch and could not go against heavenly venerables. Lan Qianshou alone would not be able to defeat the 5 heavenly venerables of the 5 aristocratic battalions. If Ji Beichen agreed to cooperate with the Ji family, Wang Kai would be happy to do so. If he did not agree, the most he could do was to snatch the qualification to enter the reincarnation realm. It would be slower and more cautious. It is hard for me to make a decision. I need to discuss it with my father. Ji Beichen frowned and said. Ji Beichen was satisfied with a fair cooperation. After all, they would still have the qualification to enter the reincarnation realm if they won. If it was not a fair cooperation, he might be able to enter the reincarnation realm. However, whether his soldiers and the younger generation of the Ji family could enter would depend on Wang Kai. Upon hearing this, Wang Kai nodded. He was not in a hurry. There were still 2 months before the opening of the reincarnation realm. He had plenty of time before then. After Ji Beichen left, Wang Kai raised his head and closed his eyes. He murmured, I wonder what the Heavenly Ghost Supreme wants me to do. Now that I have successfully entered the Heaven Exterminating Troop, he should have sent the ghost cultivators over. Kid, let those little fellows go out. With their current cultivation, they can no longer continue to make breakthroughs in the Sky-Split Tower. Cat Lord's voice came from the Tong Tian Tower. Wang Kai raised his eyebrows. It had been several months since he had taken Lu Tian and the others into the Tong Tian Tower. Who would have thought that he would reach a point where he couldn't break through in the Sky-Split Tower? Swish. Swish. Under Wang Kai's continuous release, Lu Tian, Jin Yi, Yang Wei, the Green and Red Ghosts, the Soul-Devouring Ghost Emperor, and the White Bones Ghost King all appeared in the tent. Sensing their auras, they were all at the human sovereign realm. Wang Kai was stunned when he saw this. He had never imagined that Su Mo could reach the human sovereign realm in just a few months. Lu Tian was fine as he had obtained the inheritance of a Tao god. He did not need to cultivate further to inherit the cultivation of Tao god Jue Ming. It was not difficult for him to break through to the human honorable realm. As for the soul-devouring Ghost Emperor and the Ghost King, Wang Kai was not too surprised that they had both reached the human honorable realm. After all, they had devoured the cultivation of ghost cultivators at the Ghost God realm. It was the same for the Green and Red Ghost. After devouring ghost cultivators at the Ghost God realm, it was easy for them to reach the Tao God realm. In addition to Cat Lord's training in the Tong Tian Tower, it was reasonable for them to reach the human honorable realm. What really surprised Wang Kai were Jin Yi and Yang Wei. Jin Yi, the leader of the Raging Lion tribe, was originally at the Peak Emperor God realm. After a few months, he had reached the human honorable realm. Yang Wei, the sovereign body constitution and the pure Yang overlord body, had just entered the Six Gods realm. How could he break through so quickly? Ha ha ha. This elder is the well-deserved great elder of the heaven-defying sect. The human honorable realm, TSK, it won't be long before I unify the 8 wastelands. Lu Tian put his hands on his waist and laughed heartily. The corner of Wang Kai's mouth twitched when he heard that. He raised his hand and gently pushed Lu Tian, causing him to somersault. He then looked at Yang Wei and Jin Yi curiously and said with a surprised smile, I didn't expect the 2 of you to break through so quickly. Bang! Before Yang Wei and Jin Yi could respond, Lu Tian jumped up and looked at Wang Kai in shock. He said in high spirits, Sect Master, your realm. Have you reached the sacred honorable realm? I'm not a sacred honorable. I'm just a divine honorable for the time being. It's not worth mentioning. With my talent, becoming a sovereign or even an 8 wastelands sovereign is just a matter of drinking water. Wang Kai shrugged and said with a casual smile, Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 100,000 experience and 100 bragging points. Of course. Sect Master, you're blessed with boundless longevity. Who can compete with you when you unify the 8 wastelands? No one can compete with you. The green and red ghosts shouted with flattering smiles on their faces. They stood on either side of Wang Kai very quickly. Their faces were serious and their eyes were full of murderous intent. It was as if he was a bodyguard and a right-hand man. Get lost. Is that a place where you can stand? Besides, who are the two of you? Which pit did you crawl out from? One is red and the other is green. Were you beaten up or burned? Lu Tian put his hands on his waist and snorted with displeasure. Whoosh! As soon as he said that, the two ghosts immediately widened their eyes. They looked at each other and swung their fists at Lu Tian without any explanation. Beat you up! We're the green and red ghosts, the hall masters of the Ghost God Hall. Today, we'll see if we can beat you up. If we can't, we'll try burning you. Bang! Bang! Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Seeing this, Lu Tian quickly raised his hands to block. Although they were in the same realm, it was difficult for two fists to fight against four hands. He immediately took a few steps back and his palms were a little numb. You're quite good at showing off, aren't you? Jin E. Yang Wei, the three of us are the earliest members of the Discord sect. Shouldn't we come over to help? Do you want me to make things difficult for you in the future? Lu Tian raised his eyebrows and shouted proudly. Whoosh! As soon as he said that, Jin E and Yang Wei looked at each other and stepped forward to stand on either side of Lu Tian. Of course, I'll help you. Jin E scratched his head and said in a silly voice. His tall stature, sharp claws, and the demonic aura of the venerable realm looked quite terrifying. Yang Wei also took off the clothes on his body, revealing his well-defined muscles. Bursts of masculine and powerful aura were extremely shocking. It has nothing to do with helping you. We just came out and should find an opponent to practice with. However, I'm afraid they're not enough for us to fight, right? Grand Elder, Hall Master Jin, the two of you can step back. Leave the two of them to me. Yang Wei licked his lips and smiled valiantly. His eyes were shining with a battle lust. Seeing this scene, green and red ghosts swallowed a mouthful of saliva. As they were both in the human sovereign realm, they could naturally sense their auras. Under the situation of 2 against 3, it was as difficult as ascending to the heavens to defeat them. Moreover, Yang Wei's aura gave them a feeling that they were invincible. Soul-devouring Ghost Emperor, White Bone Ghost King, you're both from the Soul Break Valley and Ghost Cultivators. Are you just going to watch? Why don't you come and fight together with us? Green Ghost bared his teeth and shouted. Red Wraith also waved his scarlet arm, causing waves of death energy to sweep out. He gritted his teeth and sneered. If you can obtain the sect master's appreciation, you might be able to become a hall master as well. When Soul-devouring Ghost Emperor and White Bone Ghost King heard this, their eyes flickered. However, in the end, they gritted their teeth and came before Wang Kai. They knelt down on one knee and cupped their fists together, saying, Sect Master, please save us. Remove the poison from the soul elixir. Although we have broken through to the human sovereign realm, every once in a while, we will suffer unimaginable torture. If we use our cultivation to fight, it will speed up the relapse. Chapter 509. Soul Elixir? Upon hearing this, Wang Kai raised his eyebrows. He could not help but think of the weakness that Yen Ruyu had used to threaten him. Wasn't it the antidote of this soul elixir? He vaguely remembered that he had taken a soul elixir when he stepped into the ghost graveyard in the Broken Soul Valley. The soul-devouring Ghost Emperor and the White Bone Ghost King had also taken one each. He could rely on his sovereign body to ignore the poison of the soul elixir. However, the soul-devouring Ghost Emperor and the White Bone Ghost King could not. Looking at their fearful faces, one could tell how painful the torture brought about by the soul elixir was. This is simple. Let alone the poison of the soul elixir, no matter how powerful the poison is, it is just a child's play in my eyes. I only need a drop of blood to neutralize it. Wang Kai shrugged and smiled indifferently. Swoosh. Swoosh. As soon as his voice fell, Wang Kai flicked 2 drops of crimson blood into the bodies of the soul-devouring Ghost Emperor and the White Bone Ghost King. That's it? The soul-devouring Ghost Emperor and the White Bone Ghost King were a little doubtful. Could human blood really neutralize the poison of the soul elixir given by the heavenly Ghost Sovereign? Was it so easy? With this thought in mind, the soul-devouring Ghost Emperor and the White Bone Ghost King did not dare to test it. They looked at Wang Kai with pleading eyes. However, how could Wang Kai be in the mood to care about them? He had not expected that the system would not notify him of the reward when he was bragging just now. Had he failed to brag? Just how powerful was the blood in his body? It could even neutralize the poison that was more powerful than the soul elixir? Although Wang Kai was very satisfied with this ability, the taste of failing to brag was really unpleasant. The blood of the sect leader is naturally the most powerful treasure in the world. It is your honor to be willing to use it to neutralize the poison of the 2 of you. How dare you not believe it? Do you want your souls to scatter? Lu Tian's eyes suddenly turned, and he immediately came up with a plan. He opened his mouth and scolded repeatedly. Even if Wang Kai's blood could not cure the poison in their bodies, wouldn't the patriarch be impressed by the compliment? If they really couldn't get rid of it, they would definitely be tortured if they used their cultivation to fight. Although Lu Tian did not know how severe the torture was, as long as he could teach them a lesson, it was enough. Even if they managed to decipher it, it wouldn't matter. At most, they would have 2 more combatants. However, Wang Kai's bootlicking was extremely effective. Thinking of this, Lu Tian was in high spirits. Bastard, why aren't you using your cultivation? Could it be that you don't believe in Lord Sect Leader's ability? Lu Tian continued to berate loudly. Seeing this, Jean E on the side rolled his big eyes and also understood something. He immediately snorted in a silly voice. As a disciple of the heaven-defying sect, if you don't even believe the sect master, what's the use of keeping you? Whoosh. Hearing this, the soul-devouring Ghost Emperor and the White Bone Ghost King looked at each other and then looked at Wang Kai, whose face was slightly pale. They completely thought that the sect master was really angry. Little did they know that Wang Kai's pale face was completely caused by his failure to boast. After all, it was the first time he had failed to boast so far. Buzz. Buzz. In an instant, the 2 ghosts no longer dared to hesitate. They directly activated the death chi and used their cultivation. Hee, quickly roll on the ground in pain. Scratch your ears and cheeks in pain. Let's shed all pretense of cordiality. Lu Tian and Jean E both muttered in a low voice. Such words made the corner of Yang Wei's mouth twitch, and he felt quite speechless. After all this time, this was the purpose of these 2 guys. However, something that surprised Lu Tian and Jean E happened. The soul-devouring Ghost Emperor and the White Bone Ghost King did not show any signs of pain. Instead, their faces were full of joy. Plop, plop. The soul-devouring Ghost Emperor and the White Bone Ghost King were pleasantly surprised. They immediately knelt down on one knee and hurriedly cupped their fists. Thank you, Sect Leader. Sect Leader's power is unparalleled, and no one can defeat you. Do I need you to say that? My power is unparalleled, and no one can defeat me, okay? Not to mention humans, even demons, ghosts, or thousands of other races are not much different from insects in front of me. Wang Kai said with a shrug, as if it was a matter of course. Congratulations to the host for successfully boasting. You have received 100,000 experience points and 100 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the 5th grade Divine Master realm. It was obviously a compliment, but it was made to sound as if it was true. The few people and ghosts in the tent found it hard to accept. Since the poison has been cured, let's fight. Let them see the power of us ghost cultivators. Green Ghost shouted proudly. Hee, that demonic beast Wild Lion looks good. Its soul should be delicious, right? Leave him to this Ghost Emperor. The soul-devouring Ghost Emperor laughed sinisterly. As soon as his voice fell, he turned into a cloud of dark soul fog and covered Jean E. Ao. When Gold One saw this, he roared angrily. His body turned into his original huge physique and directly broke apart the tent. Finally, he turned into a golden light and fought fiercely with the soul fog that the soul-devouring ghost emperor had turned into. I'll pick that Grand Elder Lu Tian. He looks like he needs a beating, hee. White Bone Ghost King first glanced at Yang Wei, sensing his power, and then immediately turned his gaze to Lu Tian. How dare you say that I need a beating? You even added the word tough? F***CKU, if I don't beat you up today, I won't be called a mighty person who will unify the 8 wastelands in the future. Lu Tian was so angry that his mouth was crooked and his eyes were slanted. Immediately, his body moved and disappeared. The White Bone Ghost King was shocked when he saw this scene. He looked back and forth but was unable to find any trace of Lu Tian. I'll poke your ass. Bang! F***CK. Suddenly, as White Bone Ghost King let out a heart-wrenching scream, Lu Tian's figure suddenly appeared behind him. He put his hands together and poked directly into White Bone Ghost King's buttock. Bastard! Hiss! White Bone Ghost King suddenly flew into a rage. In shame and anger, he waved his hand and slapped behind him. Bang! Rumble! A deep trench was formed on the ground, but Lu Tian's figure was nowhere to be seen. White Bone Ghost King's face became more and more pale. He immediately stepped on the ground and stepped into the air. He looked down angrily and shouted, "Let's fight in the sky!" Hee, so be it. Do you think I'm afraid of you? Swoosh! Lu Tian's figure appeared. He took a step forward and rushed into the sky to fight with the White Bone Ghost King. Under his crafty and crazy attacks, the White Bone Ghost King even had the thought of dying. He might as well choose the most dangerous Yang Wei. Even if he lost, at least he would lose fair and square. Hee boy, do you want a group fight or a one-on-one fight? Green Ghost and Red Ghost looked at each other and looked at Yang Wei with a mocking gaze. Chapter 510. What's the difference? Yang Wei's eyes were filled with fighting spirit as he stared at the two ghosts with blazing flames. His thick arms waved vigorously, and as he clenched his fists, cracking sounds could be heard. He looked like a domineering tyrant. What an arrogant kid! What's your name? Lord Ghost's claws never catch nameless ghost. Green Ghost narrowed his green eyes and laughed sinisterly. Red Ghost also had a sinister smile on his face. As he raised his hand, sharp red claws pierced through the air like blades. Yang Wei, the two of you can come at me together. Yang Wei shook his arm and waved his hand with a smile. What did you say your name was? Impotence? Did I hear wrongly? Brother Red Ghost. Green Ghost was stunned when he heard that. Red Ghost was also stunned when he heard that. He clenched his claws and said dryly, "It does seem to be called impotence." Puff, wahahaha. What an awesome name. Ha ha ha, impotence, ha ha. I can't take it anymore. I'm dying of laughter. In an instant, Green Ghost and Red Ghost laughed loudly. In the end, they laughed so hard that they lay on the ground, hugging their chests and rolling back and forth. I promise that I won't kill the two of you. Give me your life. Swoosh. Suddenly, Yang Wei could no longer tolerate it. His fighting spirit from before had turned into anger. He immediately waved his fists, pushed off the ground, and leaped up. That huge fist came crashing down on his head. I already said that I won't kill you. Why are you still shouting, "Give me your life"? Damn it. Do you think Lord Ghost is a child? Green Ghost and Red Ghost immediately cursed when they saw that. Looking at the powerful attack, they were so frightened that they immediately got up and dodged to the side. Rumble! Rumble! Crack! Crack! The ground was directly smashed by Yang Wei's fist, and a bottomless ditch appeared, stimulating the nerves of Green Ghost and Red Ghost. Holy shit, this guy is actually for real. Red Wraith wiped the cold sweat off his forehead and exclaimed with lingering fear. A hint of fear flashed across Green Ghost's eyes, but it quickly turned into anger. He immediately berated in a stern voice, "Beat his uncle. Beat him up." Bang! Bang bang! Immediately, the Green Ghost and Red Ghost joined forces and turned into two rays of light. They cooperated well and attacked Yang Wei from both sides. "Big dumb cat, what kind of training did you give them?" Wang Kai's figure slowly floated up and hovered in the air. He looked at the battle circles with a surprised expression. Inside Tong Tian Tower, Cat Lord stroked his long beard and smiled proudly. "Of course it's the toughest training. In my opinion, Yang Wei's breakthrough to the human sovereign realm is considered slow. There aren't many sovereign bodies in 8 barren lands. Moreover, he walks on the path of battle, gaining insights through battles. As long as he fights non-stop, it will only take him 100 years to reach the heavenly sovereign realm." Hearing this, Wang Kai couldn't help curling his lips. Sovereign physique, with such an awesome physique, it would still take 100 years to break through to the heavenly venerate realm. If it were him, he would have changed his profession to literature long ago. What kind of training did Wild Lion Jin Yi go through? He was originally an emperor god, but now he has reached the human sovereign realm. Could it be that the disciples that I found are all super geniuses? Wang Kai raised his eyebrows and asked with a strange expression. When he found them, only Yang Wei valued his physique. The others were all based on their personalities. If they were interesting and suited his taste, he would accept them into the Sky Sect. He didn't expect that all of them were awesome. Of course, he grew up in the desert and became the leader of thousands of demonic beasts. Is it easy to achieve that? If it wasn't for the fact that the desert in the Eastern Barren Lands is at the edge of the Eastern Barren Lands, his cultivation would not be as simple as an emperor god. Cat Lord stroked his long beard and said emotionally. Wang Kai shrugged when he heard this. He didn't care too much about it. After all, he was just trying to show off when he tried to control the demonic beasts. He didn't expect that he would accidentally pick up a treasure when he was showing off. I was born with the ability to see through everything in the world. I can even see through everything in the mortal world. Who is strong and who is weak is just a piece of cake. Naturally, I can see through it." Wang Kai had a casual smile on his face. It was as if he was talking about something that wasn't worth mentioning. "Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 100,000 experience and 100 bragging points." Cat Lord's mouth twitched when he saw this. He didn't want to chat with Wang Kai if he had any other choice. He could really piss him off. "Kid, don't show off in front of Cat Lord. If you really have the ability to see through people, why are the talents of the other disciples so bad? Take Lu Tian for example. He's so bad. If he didn't get the inheritance of the Tao God, he would have to cultivate for at least 1,000 years to reach the Tao realm." Cat Lord sneered mercilessly. Hearing this, Wang Kai's face suddenly darkened. He was in the middle of bragging, but he was ruthlessly splashed with cold water. If it weren't for the fact that the conversation between him and Cat Lord couldn't be heard by others, Wang Kai would definitely punish Cat Lord severely. What do you know? Every disciple that I find will be the future ruler of the 8 wastelands. If they can't do it, I'll let them do it. If they have poor talent, I'll let them be the second in the world. Well, as for the first, it'll naturally be me." Wang Kai shrugged his shoulders and turned his anger into nonchalance. That nonchalant look of his made Grandpa Cat extremely aggrieved. "Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 100,000 experience and 100 bragging points." What really struck him was not his anger. No matter how the other party provoked him, he ignored it in an indifferent way. It made him unable to vent his anger. In the Tower of Babel, Cat Lord was so angry that his fur stood up. He hissed a few times and cut off the connection in anger. He really didn't want to talk to Wang Kai anymore. This. What is going on? Rushue? Rushue? Where are you, you little slut? I'm Lieni. Suddenly, along with an anxious and merciless venomous voice, it caused Wang Kai's brows to raise, and he turned around to look down from above. He saw Wang Lieni, who was wearing a suit of armor, walking in the air. Lieni. I'm here. Ji Rushua heard it as if she had seen her savior. However, she couldn't make too much noise. She frowned and gritted her teeth as she cried out in a low voice. She looked like she was in pain and was sweating profusely, especially when a few unfamiliar experts suddenly appeared and were fighting around her. Every time there was a tremor, Ji Rushua would go crazy. Looking at the apprentices of the military advisor department, they had been beaten unconscious on the ground by the people of the soldier department. Filth was still flowing out of their backyards. Ah, why is this place so smelly? Is it Wang Kai, that stinking bug, who did this? Damn stinking bug, why don't you commit suicide in the toilet? Wang Lieni floated in the air, frowning and muttering. Chapter 511. Wang Kai frowned when he heard that. He did not expect this girl to hold a grudge against him. She always had a sharp tongue. Wang Lieni, your Wang family's Wang Mie calls me father. Since you're of the same generation as him, shouldn't you call me ancestor? Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and said with a teasing smile. Whoosh. As soon as these words were spoken, it instantly caused Wang Lieni to be stunned, and she hurriedly turned around to look up into the sky. When she saw Wang Kai, her beautiful eyes immediately glared angrily, and she gritted her teeth as she cursed. Despicable, shameless, and extremely lowly bug. How dare you? The current Wang family is just a branch. I'm a direct descendant of the Wang family. However, there's no need for the Wang family to be anxious. One day, it won't even be a branch. Be a servant and learn your place. Wang Kai shrugged and sneered disdainfully. As soon as he finished speaking, Wang Kai waved his hand and a terrifying pressure came crashing down from the sky. Bang! Wav! Suddenly, Wang Lieni tried to block the attack, but it didn't have any effect. Her body was directly knocked down from the sky. Blood floated in the air as she fell directly beside Ji Rushua. Rumble! Amidst the dust, Wang Lieni's face was pale. Blood flowed uncontrollably from the corner of her mouth. She clutched her chest and stood up. She stared coldly at Wang Kai in the sky and clenched her teeth so hard that they almost broke. Lieni, don't fight with him. He can summon Lan Qianqiu, a heavenly master, and he's an ultimate god. Ji Rushua lowered her head and said in a weak voice. Her legs were clenched tighter. It was obvious that she was reaching her limit. A cold light flashed across Wang Lieni's beautiful eyes. She was naturally aware of what Wang Kai had done in the Azure Moon Tower. She was even more aware of Wang Mie's death. That was why she was so hostile towards Wang Kai outside the Prime Minister's mansion. Rushua, let's go. Wang Lieni clenched her teeth and walked toward Ji Rushua. She pulled her up without saying anything and stepped into the sky together. Puff! In an instant, when Ji Rushua was brought into the air, there was a fart-like sound. It was obvious what had happened. No. What? Wang Kai, you and I are irreconcilable. Wah! Ji Rushua's eyes suddenly turned red, and she couldn't help but cry out loud. As Wang Lieni brought her away, her crying gradually became softer. Seeing this, Wang Kai shrugged and snorted with a rather casual expression. Of all people, I've been caught in a trap of my own making. You just had to provoke me. If it weren't for my agreement with the old Prime Minister, I would have let you spit sh*t. Heavens! Ji Rushua, she actually also. That's the daughter of the Prime Minister, the daughter of the Prime Minister. The Central Desolation and the 8 Desolations are going to be shaken, right? But it feels pretty good, ha ha ha. The soldiers all raised their heads and laughed out loud. What they had done in the military advisor department made them feel extremely happy. In the past, if they wanted to stir up trouble in the military advisor department, they would have to rely on literature. How many of the soldiers in the soldier department knew literature? Even if they did, they were no match for the military advisor department. On the other hand, the military advisor department didn't know martial arts, and both sides were fighting secretly. Now that they had caused such a ruckus in the military advisor department, it would be a lie to say that they were not happy. How dare you? Who was the culprit? How dare you behave so atrociously in the military advisor department? Suddenly, a cold reprimand was heard. The soldiers in the soldier department were stunned. They quickly looked toward the entrance, and when they saw the person who had come, their faces turned pale with fright. At the entrance of the military advisor department, there were more than 20 figures, old and young, male and female, walking quickly toward them. The older ones were over 50 years old, and the younger ones were in their early 20s. The person who had spoken was an old man in a white robe. Although he looked weak, the scholarly air between his brows and the coldness in his eyes were quite intimidating. Heavens! The people from the Hanlin Academy are here. The Chancellor of the Hanlin Academy, Su Dingzhou. The Chancellor of the Hanlin Academy, Zhou Tong. The Chancellor of the Hanlin Academy, Li Yi. And the students of the Hanlin Academy. They are all descendants of the civil officials of the Heavenly Court. As the numerous soldiers discussed in low voices, their worried and helpless expressions immediately caused Wang Kai's brows to twitch. The Hanlin Academy? The Chancellor? The Chancellor? The descendants of the civil officials? Are they that scary? Even the soldiers in the soldier department are afraid of them? What are you afraid of? What are you panicking about? They are the civil officials of the Heavenly Court, and you are the military officials of the Heavenly Court. In the Heavenly Court, both the civil and military officials are indispensable. Do you think they will eat you up? Wang Kai shrugged and snorted with disdain. Hearing this, the corners of the mouths of the soldiers twitched violently. Among the thousands of soldiers, there were only 3 of them who had some status. The first was Ji Beichen, the second was Lan Jiao, and the third was Dongfang Mo. As for the rest, even if their ancestors were military officials, their positions were not very high. Now, it was even more difficult for them to challenge the civil officials. What made them even more speechless was that Ji Beichen was nowhere to be found. Only Dongfang Mo and Lan Jiao were left, and they would not be of much use. After all, he was a prince with a different surname, and his power was in the eastern wilderness. He was only a soldier now, not a commander. It was difficult for him to speak up. Bastard! The military advisor department is an important place for strategizing. How can you make such a mess? Where is Shi'er? Shi'er? The leader of the Hanlin Academy, Su Dingzhou, raised his sleeve to cover his mouth and nose. He frowned and kept shouting. Gosh! Who did this? How dare they beat up all the members of the military advisor department so severely? Isn't that Su Shi? Leader Su, your son is over there. Hearing this, Su Dingzhou's eyes turned cold. He quickly walked over and looked at the bodies of the military advisor's apprentices lying on the ground, as well as the filth around them. He immediately gritted his teeth. In particular, when he saw that Su Shi had been beaten unconscious, he flew into a rage on the spot. Bastard! Who did this? Is it your soldier department? Su Dingzhou reprimanded sternly. Swoosh! Swoosh! A few Hanlin Academy scholars came forward and helped Su Shi up. After checking him and finding that he was not seriously injured, they were relieved. Stop shouting. I did this. What are you going to do about it? Before you speak, I want to tell you very seriously. Don't be pretentious, don't be pretentious, don't be pretentious, don't be pretentious. Otherwise, you will end up worse than them. Wang Kai raised his eyebrows slightly. He lay on his back in the void and looked down at them leisurely. Hearing this, Su Dingzhou's eyes turned even colder. The Hanlon Academy scholars were so angry that their chests were heaving up and down. Chapter 5:12. How dare you! In the central wilderness, in the heavenly court, there has never been such a domineering person like you. Now, get down here and follow me to the marshal's mansion to confess your sins. Su Dingzhou raised his arm and pointed at Wang Kai. His face was stern and his tone was cold. The marshal's mansion. As soon as he said that, the hearts of the soldiers jumped violently. They all swallowed their saliva. Although it was refreshing to make such a scene in the military advisor department, it was not in line with the rules of the Heaven Exterminating Army. If this matter was really brought to the attention of the marshal, no one present would be able to escape. Who are you, old man? What are you yelling and shouting for? Are you trying to show that you have a loud voice? Bang! War! Suddenly, Green Ghost and Red Ghost appeared in front of Su Dingzhou in a flash. They slapped him with their palms, and he was sent flying while vomiting blood. Rumble, cough, cough. How dare you? Wah! In the distance, Su Dingzhou was lying on the ground, clutching his chest and coughing blood. His face was as pale as paper, and his aura was so weak that it seemed like he was about to die. Chancellor Su, when the people from Hanlon Academy saw this, they were so frightened that their faces turned pale. They quickly ran over with worried eyes. Isn't he too King weak? Green Ghost muttered in astonishment as he looked at his palms. He can't even block one palm. How dare he act tough in front of the sect leader? Red Ghost was also shocked. He thought that the person who came must be very strong. Otherwise, he would not dare to challenge Wang Kai, who knew that he would be defeated so easily with one palm. Moreover, he looked like he could die at any time. Fortunately, he did not use his full strength. Otherwise, he would have been killed. Swoosh! Swoosh! At the same time, Lu Tian, Jin Yi Yang Wei, the soul-devouring Ghost Emperor, and the White Bone Ghost King all stopped moving. They came to Wang Kai's side and stood in the air, looking down at the group of scholars below in amazement. Sect Master, are they here to have fun? Lu Tian asked with a strange smile. When Wang Kai heard this, he raised his eyebrows slightly. With a rather casual expression, he smiled and said, Maybe. Those from the Hanlon Academy are all a bunch of ordinary people who only know how to talk and have no foundation in martial arts. Ordinary people? How dare an ordinary person act cool in front of the sect leader? Swoosh! The azure and red ghosts flew through the air and cried out in shock. Is he trying to show off? He was clearly asking for a beating, all right? How could such a weak act be called acting tough? Compared to the sect master, he's far inferior. White Bone Ghost King snorted disdainfully. Whoosh! With that, Wang Kai immediately raised an eyebrow. He looked at him with admiration and nodded with a smile. I couldn't tell, but you're very wise. In the future, you'll be the hall master of the Bone Hall. Many thanks, sect leader. White Bone Ghost King was overjoyed when he heard that. He quickly cupped his fists and bowed to express his gratitude. His joyful appearance made Lu Tian and the others despise him. On the other hand, the soul-devouring Ghost Emperor was full of regret. If he had praised him just now, wouldn't the position of Hall Master be his? Thinking of that, the soul-devouring Ghost Emperor rolled his eyes and quickly praised, Sect Leader's power is unparalleled. In today's world, there's no one who's a match for the sect leader. For this group of ordinary people who have never practiced martial arts to act cool in front of the sect leader, it's because the sect leader is too kind. Too kind. Damn. You're such a bootlicker. Hearing that, Lu Tian and the others immediately gave him a thumbs up. Their expressions of admiration made the soul-devouring Ghost Emperor blush. Even the White Bone Ghost King looked at the soul-devouring Ghost Emperor in astonishment. He never thought that the Ghost Emperor, who was so ruthless in the Lonely Soul's wild ghost region, would be such a bootlicker. Sigh, what the soul-devouring hall master said is right. I'm indeed too kind. It's not a good thing to be too compassionate, but what can I do? If this sect master was not kind, would all living beings in the world still have a way to live? Wang Kai shook his head and sighed. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 100,000 experience points and 100 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the 6th grade Divine Venerable Realm. The soul-devouring Hall Master? Hall Master? The soul-devouring Ghost Emperor was stunned when he heard that. Then, he was overjoyed and praised again. Of course, who doesn't know about the sect leader's benevolence and righteousness? It's my honor to be the Hall Master of the Sky-defying sect. Ha ha ha, the soul-devouring Hall Master really has a unique vision. As the saying goes, if I become a demon, there will be no living creatures in the world. If I'm benevolent and righteous, there will be no dead people in the world. Wang Kai shrugged and laughed proudly. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 100,000 experience points and 100 bragging points. Yes, yes, yes. The sect leader is right. You're absolutely right. The soul-devouring Ghost Emperor nodded repeatedly. His serious look made people speechless. Lu Tian and the others were twitching their mouths as they watched Wang Kai and the soul-devouring Ghost Emperor singing the same tune. It was a flawless bragging. Who are they? Are they all Wang Kai's subordinates? There are ghost cultivators? And demonic cultivators. Where did they come from? Why haven't I seen them before? It's just that they seem to be human venerables. They're too weak. Many soldiers were puzzled when they saw that. Wang Kai was such a powerful figure, but his subordinates were only human venerables. Faced with their contemptuous looks, Lu Tian and the rest exchanged glances before turning to look at Wang Kai in unison. Sect leader, who are those people? Are they also disciples of the Dissing Sky sect? They seem to be good at bragging. Can you teach them a lesson? Lu Tian asked with his eyebrows raised. Teach them a lesson. When Wang Kai heard this, he was stunned. He looked at the 7 of them with some surprise. When he saw that they all wanted to fight, he could not help but find it funny. He said, the weakest of them is a sovereign, and the strongest is a peak holy venerate. If you want to exchange pointers, feel free to do so. Ha ha, in that case, what are we waiting for? Lu Tian laughed with his hands on his waist. His figure immediately disappeared. Yang Wei and Gold One also moved and floated down from the sky. They attacked the group of soldiers like ferocious tigers. Looking at the green and red ghosts, the soul-devouring Ghost Emperor and the White Bone Ghost King also attacked, unwilling to be outdone. The 7 generals of the Dissing Sky sect were naturally unhappy with the soldiers' disdain. They really dare to fight? Those are all level 10 blood. Wang Kai wanted to remind them when he saw the situation. However, he realized that the soldiers were no match for Lu Tian and the others. No one could stop them. It was effortless. They all had level 10 bloodline. They had just become human venerables, but they could render Saint Venerables powerless. Big stupid cat, what's going on? Wang Kai raised his eyebrows and asked in surprise. Inside the Tong Tian Tower, Lord Cat stroked his long whiskers and smiled proudly. Aren't you very awesome? Guess for yourself. Aren't you born with a good eye? See for yourself. Chapter 513. Haha, this sect master was born with the all-seeing eyes. Naturally, I can see through everything. I only asked you because I wanted to test you. Who would have thought that you would be so pretentious? Could it be that you want to say that their abilities were taught by you? I'm sorry, that was imparted to them by me. Wang Kai shrugged his shoulders and smiled disdainfully. Congratulations to the host for successfully boasting. You have received 100,000 experience points and 100 bragging points. Boy, you've gone overboard with your bragging. Inside the heaven-reaching tower, Lord Cat was so angry that his fur stood on end. He bared his fangs and hissed nonstop. You obviously don't know anything, but you speak as if you know everything. What made Lord Cat even more intolerable was the fact that he doubted his own abilities. Look at your inexperienced face and your self-restraint. You get angry at the slightest provocation. Are you trying to put on a show for me? The name of the show will be The Angry Big White Cat. Wang Kai waved his folding fan and smiled mockingly. Hearing this, Cat Lord became even angrier. He forcefully pulled on his long whiskers and bared his teeth. The technique they used is an ancient technique called the Silver Moon 10 Revolutions. In terms of the power of the bloodline, it can once again surpass the power of the bloodline and suppress the opponent's bloodline. Since you said that you imparted it to me, then use it and let me see. Ancient superpower, Silver Moon 10 Revolutions? Level 10 bloodline could surpass the power of the opponent by 1 realm, which was 10 grades. On this basis, it could surpass the power of the opponent by 1 realm. It could suppress the power of the opponent's bloodline? Wang Kai was stunned when he heard what Lord Cat said. No wonder Yang Wei and the rest could defeat a peak 9th grade sovereign when they were only 1st grade human sovereigns. It was because of the ancient superpower. A 1st grade human sovereign could fight against a 1st grade sovereign by relying on their level 10 bloodline. At the same time, they could use the ancient superpower, Silver Moon 10 Revolutions, to increase their power by 1 realm. In other words, Lu Tian and the rest could fight against a 1st grade celestial master with their full combat strength. Among those soldiers, the strongest peak Saint Venerable was no match for Lu Tian and the others. Even the power of bloodline was useless against a peak Immortal Venerable. After all, the Silver Moon's 10th revolution had already suppressed their bloodline power. In other words, the combat strength of the soldiers remained at their original level after the level 10 bloodline power was rendered ineffective. The highest was still a peak 9th grade Holy Venerate. However, Lu Tian and the others could rely on their ancient divine ability to fight against a 1st grade Celestial Venerable. How were they supposed to fight? He couldn't even last a single move. Are you dumbfounded? In the entire 8 barons, there were no more than 3 people who were still alive who possessed the 10 transformations of the Silver Moon. Jingxian, who abandoned you, is one of the owners. The Celestial Emperor aristocratic family was also a possessor, and it was only passed down to the Celestial Emperor. The last one was Cat Lord. You said that you created it, then you can use it. Pretentious prick. At the end of his sentence, Cat Lord happily added. Looking at Wang Kai's calm expression, he assumed that he was scared silly. Immediately, he began to dance with joy. At this moment, all the sullenness and anger from before had completely disappeared, and what replaced it was an extremely comfortable feeling. Jingxian, who abandoned me? She's just regaining her memory and is a little shy. Once the matter in the reincarnation realm is settled, I'll naturally find her and marry her immediately. TSK, I guess she's getting impatient now, right? That's right, who asked this sect master to be so charming? Wang Kai shrugged and smiled with a rather proud expression. Congratulations to the host for successfully boasting. You've received 100,000 experience and 100 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the 7th grade Celestial Venerable Realm. Boy, I don't want to argue with you about this. Why don't you use the Silver Moon's 10th revolution first? Wasn't this ancient divine ability created by you? Cat Lord stroked his long whiskers and sneered. Swoosh. Hearing this, Wang Kai squinted his eyes and immediately activated his mind. He said lightly, Ancient divine ability, Silver Moon's 10th revolution, do you have it? Host, there is only the Silver Moon's 12th revolution in the system. It will cost 300 bragging points to obtain it. Silver Moon's 12th revolution. And it only cost 300 bragging points. After hearing the prompt, Wang Kai was suddenly in high spirit. He waved his arm and activated his mind. Cultivate the Silver Moon's 12th revolution. Congratulations to the host for successfully obtaining the ancient divine ability, Silver Moon's 12th revolution. It will cost 300 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully cultivating the Silver Moon's 12th revolution. Buzz. In an instant, following the method in his mind, Wang Kai's body shook slightly. He even raised his hand and drew a line in the air. Crack! Crack! Suddenly, the void above Wang Kai's head was directly cut open by Wang Kai's hand. A silver-white crescent moon appeared in the void. The silver-white crescent moon was huge. It was as big as a house. On top of the crescent moon there was a red light spot that stopped at the bottom of the silver moon. Young man, don't tell me you're just casually performing a divine ability related to the moon and saying that it's the Silver Moon's 10th revolution? Cat Lord stroked his long whiskers and sneered mockingly. When Wang Kai heard this, he raised his eyebrows and smiled disdainfully. I'm sorry, my divine ability is not the Silver Moon's 10th revolution. It's the Silver Moon's 12th revolution. It's the ancestor of the Silver Moon's 10th revolution. 12th revolution. Open it completely. Buzz. Rumble. Rumble. As soon as Wang Kai finished speaking, the red light spot on the silver crescent moon above his head turned to the top. When the red light spot stopped at the top of the crescent moon, it was as steady as Mount Tai. Wang Kai's aura suddenly rose from the original 7th level ultimate god to the 9th level earthly venerable. It was a jump of 12 levels. Compared to the Silver Moon's 10th revolution, it was 2 levels more. Could it be that the Silver Moon's 10th revolution that Cat Lord has is only a remnant? This is impossible. Young man, where did you get such an ancient divine ability from? Inside the Tower of Babel, Lord Cat was dumbfounded. Even his paw, which was stroking his whiskers, was frozen in place. It was different from the divine ability that he had taught Lu Tian and the others. The Silver Moon's 10th revolution did not appear, but Wang Kai's 12th revolution did. Although it was only 2 more revolutions than the Silver Moon's 10th revolution, the 2 levels of combat power could completely turn the tide of the battle. For example, it could only deal with the peak Celestial Venerable, but with the extra 2 revolutions, it could directly surpass the peak and fight a strong enemy of the next realm. Looking at Lu Tian and the others below, they could not help but stop as well. Sensing the pressure of Wang Kai's earthly venerable realm aura, they were all shocked. They knew that Wang Kai was very strong, and they also admitted that he was in the ultimate god realm. But now, he was an earthly venerable. In a first-rate force, he could be an elder or even a deputy mansion master. If he went one step further and became a heavenly venerable, he would be the master of a first-rate force. For the first time, Lu Tian and the others felt that joining the Discord sect was not a bad thing. Perhaps the Discord sect could really shake the world. Chapter 514. Sect Leader is Mighty. Sect Leader is Awesome. The earthly venerate realm is just around the corner for Sect Leader to unify the 8 wastelands. In an instant, under Lu Tian's leadership, the soul-devouring Ghost Land, Green Ghost, and Red Ghost all exclaimed in admiration. Naturally, they would not let go of such a good opportunity to flatter Su Mo. However, when Wang Kai heard this, he raised his eyebrows and smiled indifferently. Who said that this sect master only has the strength of an earthly venerable? If I use the bloodline power, I will have the power of a heavenly venerate. Moreover, is there still a need to unify the 8 wastelands? I am now the leader of the 8 wastelands. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 100,000 experience and 100 bragging points. Lu Tian and the others twitched their mouths when they heard that. However, they were somewhat used to Wang Kai's bragging, so they smiled and nodded. As for the fact that he would have the power of a heavenly venerate if he used the level 10 bloodline, Lu Tian and the others did not take it to heart. In the 8 wastelands, there were many level 10 bloodline possessors. They had to rely on their combat strength, excluding the bloodline power. Big stupid cat, remember not to boast in the future. All the cultivation skills and superpowers in the world were painstakingly created by me. As long as you say it, I will naturally be able to use it, Wang Kai said proudly with a smile. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 100,000 experience and 100 bragging points. However, in the heaven-reaching tower, Cat Lord had already expected such a scene. He immediately cut off the connection with Wang Kai, as he did not want to continue listening to his bragging. He was afraid that he would be angered to death. Sigh, being too strong is also a sin. I vaguely remember that hundreds of millions of years ago, because I was too strong, everything in my path was destroyed. Now, it is better not to let the world see my power, lest they cannot bear it and die on the spot. Wang Kai shook his head and sighed. He waved his hand and dissipated the 12 rotations of the silver moon. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 100,000 experience points and 100 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the 8th level divine venerable realm. Everyone's faces stiffened when they heard this. They'd seen people who were good at bragging, but they'd never seen someone who was so good at bragging. Moreover, he even bragged as if it was true. Lu Tian and the others were even more speechless. Putting aside the fact that he was bragging as if it was true, they could not easily go against him. Otherwise, he would definitely face a strong blow from Wang Kai. In front of Wang Kai, no matter how much he bragged, he had to listen obediently. It's over. Academy head Su is no longer breathing. What? Su Zhang. Su. Heavens! What should we do? Whoosh! Suddenly, the 20 or so scholars exclaimed loudly, and the soldiers who heard what they said were immediately dumbfounded. Even though he was injured by Lu Tian and the others, he had completely forgotten about the pain. What was left was nothing but fear and horror. If you're dead, then you're dead. What are you shouting for? You're clearly an ordinary person, but you still pretended to be pretentious in front of the wise and mighty leader. You can't even take a light slap from me. It's better if you're dead. Save yourself the trouble of pretending to be weak everywhere. When Green Ghost and Red Ghost saw this, they waved their hands and snorted impatiently. Hearing this, the 20 or so scholars from Hanlin Academy were so angry that their chests heaved up and down. They looked as if they were going to die from anger on the spot. It was extremely frightening. Bastard! Academy head Su was the Academy head scholar of Hanlin Academy and the left Prime Minister of the Heavenly Court. Together with the right Prime Minister of the Ji family, they were the leaders of the Heavenly Court's Wendao. Now that Academy head Su has died here, you can wait for the Heavenly Emperor's punishment. Humph! Not only will you die, even your families, and even the servants in the residence will be buried with you. Quickly bring Academy head Su and scholar Su Shi out of the Heavenly Exterminating Army and report to the Heavenly Emperor. Immediately after, the 20-something scholars all had ashen faces and sorrowful eyes. They carefully carried the two on their backs and slowly left the military advisor department. The Heavenly Court had 2 leaders of the Wendao. The left Prime Minister was Su, and the right Prime Minister was Ji. When Wang Kai saw this, he raised his eyebrows slightly and looked at the soldiers with a mocking expression. He couldn't help but smile faintly. Looks like we're all in danger. While puff, hearing this, the soldiers all spat out blood. Some of them even rolled their eyes and fainted. They were really angered by Wang Kai. The real culprit behind Su Dingzhou's death was you, Wang Kai, and your subordinates, weren't you? What does it have to do with us? Unfortunately, they no longer had the strength to shout and argue. because they knew very well that once the Heavenly Emperor gave the order, even if they had all kinds of reasons, they couldn't escape death. If that's the case, I've killed a very powerful person? The Prime Minister of the Heavenly Court? Kiki, not bad, not bad. I remember when I was still alive, the Prime Minister of the Heavenly Court couldn't even meet him once. Green Ghost smiled proudly. Red Ghost also seemed to have been injected with chicken blood. He waved his claws and laughed proudly. The Prime Minister is nothing. As long as we follow our great leader, we can also kill the Heavenly Emperor in the future. Yes, yes, that's right. Wahahaha. Then, the Green Ghost and Red Ghost looked at each other and laughed. This scene made the corner of Wang Kai's mouth twitch. He secretly thought that their courage had grown a lot. They weren't even afraid of the Heavenly Emperor. Before killing the Heavenly Emperor, should we be prepared to be killed by the Heavenly Emperor first? They've already left. We have to report to the Heavenly Emperor. He's a supreme powerhouse. Wang Kai shrugged and smiled with a playful expression. Whoosh. Hearing this, the Green Ghost and Red Ghost suddenly reacted. Their laughter came to an abrupt halt. Their expressions were extremely ugly as they shouted, F***CK. Stop right there. Swoosh. Swoosh. The Green Ghost and Red Ghost quickly turned into a stream of light and chased in the direction of the Hanlin Academy scholar. Heavens! Lord Wang, are you going to kill those scholars? Please don't do that. We don't want our souls to be scattered. Those soldiers all begged repeatedly when they saw the situation. With Su Dingzhou dead, the Heavenly Emperor would definitely want their lives. However, if the people of the Hanlin Academy were killed, it would be impossible for them to even become ghost cultivators. What are you crying for? Do you want me to wait for them to report to the Heavenly Emperor so that he can kill me? And you guys, chase after them now and join the operation to destroy the Hanlin Academy. I will accept you into the Heavenly Sect. Wang Kai shrugged and smiled casually. Whoosh. Hearing this, the soldiers were all drenched in cold sweat. Even Dongfang Mo and Lan Jiuyo were so frightened that their faces changed drastically. If they joined in this operation, wouldn't they be doomed to die? Sect leader. What? Save Red Ghost. Bang. Suddenly, Green Ghost stepped back in the air. Green blood flowed all over his body. He said a few words intermittently and fell from the sky. He fell unconscious on the ground. His breath was extremely weak, and he was about to die. Could it be that Su Shi has woken up? Wang Kai's pupils shrank when he saw this. He immediately flicked a drop of blood with his finger and merged it into Green Ghost's body. His figure also flew into the distance in an instant. Chapter 5:15. Hand over the superpower you have cultivated. I have already spared your brother. 4 figures, 2 men and 2 women, stood on an empty training field belonging to the soldier fighting department of the exterminating army. The person who spoke was dressed in a black robe. He had a youthful face and a long sword at his waist. He stood calmly and looked down at Red Ghost with a slightly urgent gaze. This person was the second son of Dual Sky Sovereign Wang Fan. Behind him were the 2 heavenly sovereigns, as well as a beautiful woman in a short white skirt. Rather than a short skirt, it was more accurate to call it a half-skirt. Her fleshless belly, slender legs, and thighs were all exposed. There was a red flame between her eyebrows. Her eyes were deep blue and her skin was snow-white. Her figure was extremely explosive. This person was the immortal goddess of the Bai family, Bai Yanyan. A crimson man lay on the ground in front of Wang Fan and the other 3. His skin should have been red, but now it was covered in blood. Cough cough, I don't know what you are talking about. Superpower? Even if you living people obtain the superpower of a ghost cultivator, you won't be able to cultivate it. Red Ghost clutched his chest and supported himself with his arms. He lay on the ground and stared at Wang Fan while coughing up blood. He had thought that he would be able to kill all of the Hanlon Academy people. Who knew that a young earthly venerable would appear along with two unfathomable powerhouses? In the end, he failed to kill them and allowed the Hanlon Academy people to leave safely. On the contrary, he had been severely injured. If he hadn't wanted to obtain the 10 transformations of the Silver Moon, even Green Ghost wouldn't have been able to escape. Now, Red Ghost could only hope that Green Ghost could find the sect master as soon as possible and turn the situation around. A bunch of nonsense. The divine ability you cultivate can suppress the power of this sovereign's bloodline, and it can also increase your combat strength by another 10 levels. Even Sovereign Heavenly Ghost doesn't possess such a divine ability. Hurry up and hand it over. I can spare your life, Wang Fan said with a cold expression. Wang Tian gently nodded when he heard this. He indifferently looked at Red Ghost and said, I'm Double Heaven Supreme, and he's my son. If you hand over the spell, I can guarantee that I'll let you go. That's right. Little rascal, hurry up and hand it over. If you can continue to live with this mystic ability, you will be able to establish your own world and become an overlord no matter where you go. Lin Yu laughed softly. Her gentle expression was filled with sincerity. However, Red Ghost was filled with disdain upon hearing their words. Double Sky Supreme. Supreme level experts? Since Red Wraith had been cultivating in Soul Break Valley for over 700 years, he did not know the name of Dual Sky Supremes. After all, it had only been 20 years since Twin Sky Supremes had become famous. Are you bragging to Ghost Grandpa? The two of you are only at the Heavenly Venerate realm, yet you dare to pretend to be Supreme Being powerhouses? Do you think that Supreme Being powerhouses are cabbages that can be found anywhere? Do you think that you can meet them everywhere? Red Ghost sneered disdainfully. Supreme-level experts were rare in 8 Desolate. Even when cultivating in Soul Break Valley, he had not seen Heavenly Ghost Supremes even once. Even if Red Ghost could not see Twin Sky Supreme's cultivation level, he would at most be a Heavenly Venerate. After all, it was difficult for ordinary people to see a Supreme-level expert. Wang Tian shook his head and laughed. He had not expected that there would be people in 8 Desolates who did not know the name of Dual Sky Supreme. Fan get him to hand it over as soon as possible. After sending you to the Bai family's military camp, I will head to Western Desolates to find Heavenly One Holy Water to help you reach the Heavenly Venerate realm. Wang Tian smiled faintly. Hearing this, Wang Fan's eyes were filled with joy. However, Lin Yu's beautiful eyes were filled with displeasure. If not for the fact that sending Wang Fan into the military was of utmost importance, Lin Yu would not have followed along. Now, Lin Yu's mind was filled with Wang Kai. Hand it over and you will live. If you don't hand it over, you will die. I have no time to waste with you. If you don't hand it over, I will ask your brother Green Ghost for it. Wang Fan said coldly. Swoosh. Hearing this, Red Ghost's face suddenly turned serious. He spat out a mouthful of blood and sneered disdainfully. Stop acting tough. Our sect leader will be here soon. When the time comes, I want to see how capable you are to continue acting tough. Sect leader? The moment these words were spoken, Wang Fan's expression immediately turned even colder. Although he had expected Green Ghost to ask for reinforcements when he let him go, judging from this ghost cultivator's cultivation, their leader would definitely not be very strong. However, this ghost cultivator was now saying that he could defeat him. Humph, in Central Desolates and even 8 Desolates, there is no one who can touch me. Before Wang Fan could finish his words, he was interrupted by a familiar and hateful voice. A few days ago I just beat you up, you useless trash. Now you dare to provoke this sect master's brother. Your skin is tight again. Do you want this sect master to loosen it for you? Swoosh. With a soft laugh, Wang Kai's figure appeared in front of Red Ghost. With a flick of his finger, a drop of blood entered Red Ghost's body. Red Ghost's injuries were recovering at a speed visible to the naked eye. Sect leader. It was this pretentious piece of sh*t who wanted to force this hall master to hand over the mystical ability. He even said that you, sect master, are an idiot and not a piece of sh*t. Cough cough. When Red Ghost reached the end of his sentence, he choked back his words under Wang Kai's gaze. He originally wanted to add fuel to the fire, but when he saw Wang Kai's eyes, Red Ghost immediately felt like he had been seen through. Suddenly, Lin Yu could no longer hold back her excitement. She looked at Wang Kai with reddened eyes and called out softly. Wang Tian frowned slightly. He glanced at Wang Kai and stood there silently without saying a word. On the other hand, Wang Fan's eyes were filled with cold killing intent and endless anger. He never expected Wang Kai to appear in the heaven-exterminating army. Moreover, he was the leader of the ghost cultivators. However, Wang Kai did not care about this. He smiled calmly and said, "There's no need to say more. Since he dared to touch you, he has committed an unforgivable crime." Whoosh. Hearing this, Red Ghost was extremely moved and excited. He immediately put his hands on his waist and looked at Wang Fan. He sneered disdainfully, "Pretentious fool, weren't you very arrogant just now? Why are you being so arrogant now? Are you afraid to speak now that Sir Sect Leader has appeared? You trash bastard! A mere ghost cultivator subordinate dares to be so arrogant. Quickly kill him and take out the bloodline-suppressing divine ability and share it with your little brother Fan. Father knows that you are wronged, but for the Wang family, you must endure it," Wang Tian said in a deep voice. Wang family? Little brother? Father? Red Ghost's eyes bulged when he heard this. He quickly turned around and looked at Wang Kai. His expression turned stiff for a moment. He never expected this person to be the sect leader's father. The young man who injured him was actually the sect leader's little brother. Chapter 5:16. A divine ability that could suppress one's bloodline? So he had his eyes on the green and red ghosts' Silver Moon 10 revolution? Wang Kai narrowed his eyes when he heard that. He looked at Wang Tian with a strange expression and asked in surprise, "May I know who you are? Why should this sect master hand over the divine ability?" Swish. Wang Tian's expression froze when he heard that. He glared at Wang Kai coldly as anger rose from his chest. He never thought that his son would actually rebel against him. "Wang Tian, don't go overboard. Don't blame me for not taking our relationship as husband and wife into account," Lin Yu reprimanded coldly. In a flash, she stood in front of Wang Kai. The anger in Wang Tian's eyes became even more obvious when he saw that. He had been patiently scheming for the Wang family's past glory, but he had hit a wall after Wang Kai appeared. As a descendant of the Wang family, you should prioritize the Wang family. Quickly hand over your divine ability," Wang Tian said in a deep voice. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes when he heard that. He raised his eyebrows and sneered disdainfully. "Old man, you need to know that our relationship isn't what you think. Perhaps we don't have any relationship at all. So, the only thing you can do now is not to provoke me." "How dare you, Wang Tian?" Swish. Just as Wang Tian was about to fly into a rage, Lin Yu's terrifying aura swept out and stopped Wang Tian. "Father, mother, let Fan or handle elder brother's matter," Wang Fan said softly. As soon as he finished speaking, Wang Fan arrived before Wang Kai with his hands behind his back and a faint smile on his face. "Brother, let me share the divine power with you. When the Wang family becomes a supreme force in the 8 Desolaces, I'll give you the position of patriarch. I'm willing to give up everything for the Wang family." Swish. The moment he said that, Wang Tian and Lin Yu were stunned. They naturally did not expect Wang Fan to say such words. Kara, if you can have even 1% of Fan. Just as Wang Kai was about to open his mouth to praise him, he was interrupted by a wave of his hand. Are you done acting tough? Give the position of the head of the Wang clan to me? Even if you really have that kind of intention, you still have to ask whether this sect master wants it. You're a piece of trash that's not even worth a fart. How dare you act cool in front of me? Everything you did was for the Wang clan? Do you mean that this sect master has never done anything for the Wang clan? Then your guess is correct. Not only did I never intend to help the Wang clan, I will even destroy everything you want. Wang Kai sneered with disdain. Putting aside how powerful the black and white Reverend's Dao fruits were, they were only half-step supremes. How could it be so easy for them to become supremes? Wang Kai did not know where Wang Fan got his confidence from, nor did he want to know. However, Wang Fan dared to praise himself and belittle him. That was a big mistake. To Wang Kai, such an overt scheme to sow discord and show off was useless. In that case, let's fight. If I win, you'll hand over your divine power. For that, I'll let you have 3 moves first. Wang Fan said calmly. The confidence in his eyes was very obvious. Let him have 3 moves first. Another fight. When Wang Kai heard this, he was so angry that he laughed instead. He shrugged his shoulders and said with a rather playful smile, "You disappointing trash, I really didn't beat you up enough last time. You even let this sect master make 3 moves. Good, stand still, this sect master is going to beat you up." 12 turns of the silver moon. Activate. Buzz. Suddenly, a silver crescent moon emerged from the void above Wang Kai's head. The red light spots on the crescent moon jumped and directly streaked to the top. At the same time, Wang Kai's aura began to rise. From 8th grade Ultimate God to 1st grade Heavenly Master. Wang Fan's expression changed when he sensed the aura that was higher than his own. Even Wang Tian and Lin Yu's expression changed. Bai Yanyan, who had been silent the whole time, was staring at Wang Kai with her beautiful eyes. As smart as she was, and as someone who had interacted with Wang Kai before, she naturally understood that the current Wang Kai was truly angry. It actually increased by 12 grades. It's 2 grades higher than that ghost cultivator. Wang Fan's pupils suddenly shrank. His eyes were filled with joy. "You're pretty happy, aren't you?" Suddenly, while Wang Fan's face turned pale with fright, Wang Kai appeared in front of him in an instant. Wang Kai waved his fist and ruthlessly smashed it on Wang Fan's face. Bang! Crack! War! With a single punch, Wang Fan's face was immediately smashed into pieces. His body was sent flying backward. Blood and teeth flew out from his mouth. The 12 revolutions of the silver moon would completely suppress the opponent's bloodline power the moment it came into contact with the opponent. Even though Wang Fan was an earthly venerable, he was still an earthly venerable without his bloodline power. But Wang Kai was a first-rank Empyrean, a full 9 ranks higher than Wang Fan. Kai stop! Wang Tian hurriedly shouted. Wang Tian cried out in alarm when he saw this. Lin Yu's beautiful eyes were filled with tears as she stopped Wang Kai with reddened eyes. "There are still 2 more moves. Let's talk after the fight." Wang Kai shrugged his shoulders. His expression was quite casual as he smiled. After his words sounded, he walked around Lin Yu and directly walked towards Wang Fan. "Bastard! Stop!" Wang Tian reprimanded coldly. With a flip of his hand, a terrifying aura swept out. Summoning Protector Beast, Lan Qianshou. Congratulations on successfully summoning Protector Beast, Heavenly Venerable Realm, Lan Qianshou. Buzz! As Lan Qianshou appeared in front of Wang Kai, Wang Tian's aura was blocked by Lan Qianshou with a wave of his hand. "Lan Qianshou!" Wang Tian bellowed coldly. Lan Qianshou was stunned. When he saw the few people present, especially Wang Kai's despicable face, his face turned green. "Sect leader Wang, can't you find someone else to mess with? The prefecture lord, really? Before Lan Qianqiu could finish his sorrowful words, Wang Kai ordered, "Keep an eye on this person. Don't let him disturb me." "Yes, master." Lan Qianqiu's mind was in a mess as he respectfully responded. He turned around and stared at Wang Tian warily. "Bastard! Bastard!" Wang Tian was enraged when he saw this. He wanted to sweep Wang Fan up, but he was stopped by Lan Qianqiu. In his anger, Wang Tian attacked with all his might and fought with Lan Qianqiu in the air. Quickly join forces and defeat Lan Qianqiu. Wang Tian and Lan Qianqiu continued to fight. However, they were unable to determine a victor within a short period of time. When Wang Tian saw Wang Kai walking towards Wang Fan, he immediately shouted anxiously. However, Lin Yu was stunned. She covered her face and shook her head with tears in her beautiful eyes. She said softly, "If I treat Kai badly, who will treat him well? Wang Tian, you have made a mistake, so you have to bear it yourself." At this moment, Wang Kai had already arrived in front of Wang Fan. Looking at Wang Fan, who was struggling to get up from the ground, Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and laughed mockingly. "TSK, you have reached the earthly venerable realm. It seems that the fruit of Tao is very useful. However, you don't seem to have made much progress. You still can't withstand a punch from me, you useless piece of trash." Useless piece of trash. Hearing these words, Wang Fan was enraged. The words kept echoing in his mind. "Useless piece of trash, useless piece of trash, Wang Kai, I must kill." Bang! However, before Wang Fan could finish speaking, he was once again sent flying into the sky by a punch from Wang Kai. Half of his face had been blown away. Chapter 5:17. Plop! As Wang Fan fell to the ground from the sky, Wang Kai's figure moved in an instant and once again appeared in front of him. Holding the folding fan in his hand, Wang Kai half squatted and used the folding fan to gently pat Wang Fan's gradually recovering face. "You useless piece of trash. Where's the arrogance you had just now? Where are you now? You can only reach the earthly venerate realm with the help of someone else's fruit of Tao. What's there to act tough about? Do you still remember what this sect master said to you last time in the western city?" Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and smiled coldly. Swoosh! As soon as he said that, Wang Fan's pupils suddenly shrank. His heart thumped as though it was about to jump out of his throat. "You can't do this more than 3 times. If you do it again, you'll die." Recalling Wang Kai's warning from before, Wang Fan became more and more panicked as he shouted, "Mother, save me! He wants to kill me! Save!" Bang! Crack! Suddenly, Wang Kai waved the folding fan and slammed it down. Immediately, the half of Wang Fan's face that had just recovered was smashed into pieces. "You refuse to change despite repeated warnings and continue to act tough in front of me. What are you relying on? Even if you can rely on your fruit of Tao and luckily reach the earthly venerate realm, have you reached it now? Why are you acting tough before you reach it?" Bang! Crack! As soon as he finished speaking, Wang Kai waved the folding fan and slammed it down again. Immediately, the other side of Wang Fan's face was smashed into pieces. Woo woo woo! Woo woo woo! Wang Fan was in unbearable pain. It was piercing pain, but he could not cry out. He could only whimper and scream. The deep sense of defeat from before appeared again. Moreover, it was 1,000 times more intense than when he was defeated in the West City. When he was at the ultimate venerate realm, he could not even withstand a single blow from Wang Kai. Now that he was at the earthly venerate realm, he thought that he could regain his dignity. However, he still could not withstand a single blow. This was something that Wang Kai, who had grown up in the 8 wastelands, could not accept or tolerate. His original confidence and arrogance had completely vanished under Wang Kai's repeated attacks. "Kai, you can't kill him, he's your brother." Lin Yu covered her face with her hands and sobbed. She tried to console him but didn't dare to stop him. She was afraid that if she did something wrong, Wang Kai would think that even his mother was bullying him. The only thing Lin Yu could do now was to endure the pain and watch from the side. Both of her sons were her flesh and blood, but she owed Wang Kai the most. I didn't kill him, not because he's my brother and not because of you, but because I don't want to rely on anyone else's strength to kill anyone. If I have the ability to suppress a supreme being one day, I hope you won't provoke me again, because I won't show any mercy. Wang Kai stood up and said with an indifferent expression. After saying that, he lifted his leg and sent Wang Fan flying toward Wang Tian in the sky. Lan Qianzhou, go back, Wang Kai said indifferently. Buzz. Lan Qianzhou's consciousness instantly recovered, and his body started to turn into light spots and disappear. Just as his head was about to disappear, he cried out in an extremely aggrieved voice, Ancestor Wang, please don't set me up again, swoosh! As Lan Qianzhou's body completely disappeared, Wang Tian caught Wang Fan with a gloomy face. He looked at the unconscious Wang Fan in his arms. Wang Tian was furious, but there was nothing he could do about it. Kai hand over the divine ability and the painting. I'll warn Fan not to argue with you in the future, and I'll help you resolve the matter of Hanlin Academy, Wang Tian said with a frown. Wang Kai raised his eyebrows when he heard that. He didn't expect Wang Tian to still be thinking about the divine ability and the painting. He shrugged his shoulders and smiled indifferently. The painting was personally handed to me by the old man. As for the divine ability, I'm sorry, but it belongs to me. You don't have the right to have it. Whoosh. As soon as he said that, the anger in Wang Tian's eyes became even more uncontrollable. He clenched his fists so tightly that cracking sounds could be heard. Wang Tian, take Fan back. You guys go and restore the Wang family's glory. I want to stay by Kai-er's side. Lin Yu wiped her tears and said coldly. However, no matter how cold she pretended to be, the tears in her eyes flowed down uncontrollably. Wang Kai was stunned when he heard that. He looked deeply at Lin Yu. If the old man was the first person in this world to give him family, then this girl should be the second. If the family could be reunited and fulfill the old man's wish, Wang Kai didn't mind reuniting with them. Unfortunately, there's no need for this. You should just let him go. Otherwise, haha, it's not that I look down on him, but if he doesn't have you, can he still be considered a dual heavenly supreme? Not to mention restoring the Wang family's glory, even a heavenly venerable would be able to defeat him. Wang Kai shrugged his shoulders and sneered disdainfully. Swish. As soon as he said this, a strange look flashed across Lin Yu's beautiful eyes, but the thought in her heart became even more resolute. She looked up at Wang Tian and angrily rebuked, Wang Tian, you treated Kai like this for the sake of the Wang family's former glory, but Kai is still thinking about your safety. You really disappoint me. Go, I won't interfere in your Wang family's affairs anymore. What? She's saying that I'm thinking about his safety? Wang Kai raised his eyebrows when he heard that. He looked at Lin Yu in astonishment. It was hard to imagine where she got this hint from. No, you're wrong. I have no intention of caring about his safety. I don't want you to stay by my side, because I'm afraid that he won't be able to reunite with the old man if he dies. Wang Kai quickly waved his hand and said, if not for the old man's wish for the family to be reunited, Wang Kai wouldn't have bothered with him. Fine. I don't need you. I can still restore the Wang family's former glory. Wang Tian immediately glared at them. His eldest son's disdain and contempt, and his wife's resistance and indifference, made his heart grow colder. He glanced coldly at Wang Kai, then turned to Bai Yanyan and said in a deep voice, Goddess Bai, let's go to the Bai family's barracks. Lin Yu's heart ached when she saw Wang Tian in such a state, but her expression turned increasingly cold. Even now, she still could not understand why things had developed to such a state. Why was he still so stubborn for the sake of the Wang family's former glory? I'm sorry. If a heavenly sovereign can't show the strength of a supreme, the Bai family doesn't dare to accept you. This is the order of the Bai family's patriarch. Although I'm a goddess, I can't go against the Bai family's will. Bai Yanyan shook her head gently and said. Although she was answering Wang Tian's words, her eyes were always on Wang Kai. Just now, Wang Kai had displayed the cultivation of a heavenly sovereign. Bai Yanyan couldn't accept it. She had the eternal divine flame, and it had been 2 years since she came to the Eight Desolate. However, she had only reached the Tao realm not long ago. However, Wang Kai could use the cultivation of a heavenly sovereign and summon Lan Qianqiu. Bai Yanyan couldn't imagine such an ability. Tsk, it turns out to be this leader's beloved maidservant. Come and massage this leader's back and legs. As for the matter of some people wanting to join the Bai family's army, forget it. Maybe this leader will go to the Bai family to play. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and said with a rather playful smile. The threat was extremely obvious. If the Bai family dared to accept Wang Kai, then I, Wang Kai, would definitely pay them a visit. Bai Yanyan's face changed slightly. Wang Kai had the combat strength of a heavenly sovereign and could summon Lan Qianqiu. If he went to the Bai family to make trouble, it would be difficult for the Bai family to resist with only one heavenly sovereign expert. Master, it's been 3 years since we parted in the Demon Prefecture. I miss you very much. Bai Yanyan bowed slightly and answered in a soft voice. Finally, under the incredulous gazes of Wang Tian and Lin Yu, she walked up behind Wang Kai and used her soft, jade-like hands to gently massage his back. Chapter 518. Miss him? Such words caused Wang Kai's eyebrows to twitch. Back then in the Nine-Fox Mountain of the Demon Continent, Bai Yanyan had almost been killed. Now, she suddenly said she missed him, and was so obedient. This was interesting. Wang Kai's expression was extremely playful. He couldn't help but turn around and reach out his hand, lightly grabbing her jade-like hand. Feeling the softness, he couldn't help but caress it. Narrowing his eyes, he said with a teasing smile, well said, this sect master also misses you very much. Tsk. Back then in the Nine-Fox Mountain, I didn't have the chance to enjoy the spring breeze with you. Now that we meet again, I know. If master is willing, this servant is willing. Swish. Bai Yanyan's face blushed as she lightly nodded her head. She didn't have the slightest intention of withdrawing her jade-like hand. Instead, she intentionally leaned her body forward, causing her proud big white rabbit to stick to Wang Kai's chest. As such a scene, not to mention Wang Tian and Lin Yu, even Wang Kai couldn't bear it. He was even more curious about this fox girl. What exactly was she planning? It was said that foxes were cunning and hard to predict. Even Wang Kai was somewhat uncertain. Haha, well said. Since this is the case, why don't you stay here tonight? This sect leader has already left the immortal martial realm for 3 years, and I have yet to eat meat. Wang Kai's eyes narrowed as he laughed. Yes, master. Hearing this, the blush on Bai Yanyan's face became even thicker. Even her ears were red. She slightly bowed, respectfully and obediently standing beside Wang Kai. Unfilial son. Seeing this, Wang Tian couldn't bear it anymore. He never would have thought that Bai Yanyan and Wang Kai were old acquaintances. Moreover, from the looks of it, their relationship was even more intimate. If he knew this, he wouldn't have chosen to ally with the Bai clan, so as to avoid such an awkward situation. Wang Tian, you have the nerve to call this sect master a unfilial son? Then, may I ask what you are? 20 years ago, because your strength wasn't high enough, you were forced to flee the immortal martial domain. Now your strength is tyrannical, and you even have the reputation of being able to fight against paragons. But have you ever thought that in the martial manner of the divine martial dynasty in the Fan Prefecture, there's still an old man waiting for you to return and reunite with his family? Wang Kai narrowed his eyes as he coldly snorted. You! Wang Tian was immediately left speechless when he heard these words. He opened his mouth, but the words that he wanted to say were simply unable to leave his mouth. In his fury, he suddenly waved his sleeves and left with Wang Fan in the air. Aren't you leaving with him? As a dual sky supremacy, the enemy must not be weak, right? If we split up like this, we won't be able to use the black and white inheritance. If that happens, the thief will have an opportunity to take advantage of us. I can't let the old man die before his own, can I? Wang Kai shrugged and said with a calm expression. Hearing this, Lin Yu's beautiful eyes flashed with a strange light. She couldn't help but purse her lips as she walked in front of Wang Kai and stretched out her trembling hand. Seeing this scene, Wang Kai frowned slightly. It was as if a string in his heart had been tugged. While he was in a daze, he felt a warm hand caressing his face. Don't blame your father, don't blame your brother, and don't blame your mother. You can only blame the fate of the Wang clan. One day, if you know everything, you will understand. Lin Yu's beautiful eyes were filled with tears as she softly said a few words. Then, she sorrowfully stepped into the air and chased after Wang Tian. The fate of the Wang clan, Wang Kai was stunned for a moment. He looked at the empty space and couldn't help but regain his senses. He curled his lips and coldly snorted, "What does this have to do with me? If you all listen to me and follow me back to the Fan Prefecture for a reunion, no matter what fate it is, it won't exist. Even if we overturn the heavens, no one will be able to stop us." Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 100,000 experience and 100 bragging points. Hearing the notification, Wang Kai's face instantly darkened. The corners of his mouth twitched slightly, and he was speechless as he shrugged his shoulders. It seemed that his current ability was not enough to overturn the heavens and the earth. Sect Master, did we brothers do something wrong? Green Ghost's injuries had healed, and Red Ghost had also returned to normal. Seeing Wang Kai standing there in silence, they stepped forward nervously, looking as if they were accepting their punishment. Lu Tian, Yang Wei, Gold One, the soul-devouring Ghost Emperor, and the White Bone Ghost King had also arrived early. They had been quietly watching from afar. At this moment, they all had doubts and concerns in their hearts. They really wanted to know how Wang Kai would resolve this matter. If he punished the green and red ghosts, they would definitely feel uncomfortable. After all, the green and red ghosts were not at fault. It was Wang Fan who valued the superpower, the 10 revolutions of the silver moon. You have indeed done something wrong. Wang Kai frowned slightly and said in a slightly cold voice. Swish. As soon as he said this, Lu Tian and the others were stunned. The green and red ghosts' eyes flickered rapidly. There was sadness and grievance in their eyes, but also a trace of understanding. That's right, as a family, how could they help an outsider? However, before the green and red ghosts could kneel down and admit their mistake, Wang Kai waved his arm and snorted with disdain. Your mistake is that your cultivation is too weak. You are so weak that you were humiliated by that useless, pretentious guy. In the future, you must practice hard and improve your cultivation. As the leader of the Anti-Sky Church and the future ruler of the 8 Wastelands, how could you lose face like this? Damn it, I have to clean up your mess. As Wang Kai left with Bai Yanyan with a face full of bad luck, the red and blue ghosts, as well as Lu Tian and the others, were all stunned in place. Especially when they recalled Wang Kai's last sentence, clean up your mess. Ha ha ha, you two really lost face this time. Oh no, it should be the ghost. Alas, it seems that our soul-devouring hall is still the strongest. Nonsense, our white bone hall is obviously the strongest. Haha, the Golden Lion Hall is not weaker than any of your halls. The mighty hall should be the strongest because I have the sovereign body. Ha ha ha, No matter how strong you are still inferior to me. Don't forget, I am the first Grand Elder of the Anti-Sky sect. As Lu Tian put his hands on his waist and laughed proudly, Yang Wei and the others immediately glared at him. What are you doing? If you want to fight one by one, F***CK. Bang. Bang bang. In an instant, under the joint attack of Yang Wei and the others, Lu Tian was unable to fight against so many people even though he had a tricky inheritance. Immediately, he was beaten up by Yang Wei and the others and fled like a rat, screaming miserably. At the same time, in the tent, Wang Kai was lying on a chair with his legs crossed. He looked at Bai Yanyan in front of him with a playful expression and said with a playful smile, "Little fox, tell me, what do you want to do? As the saying goes, a gentle home is a hero's grave. You are the immortal goddess, and you don't have the burden of Nine Fox Mountain. Why do you need to recommend yourself? Nine Fox Mountain is gone." As Bai Yanyan lowered her head and spoke these words in a low voice, Wang Kai's expression suddenly froze. Chapter 519. Who did it? Wang Kai asked with a frown. No wonder Bai Yanyan chose to come to the Eight Baron. It turned out that the ties of the Nine Fox Mountain were all ready, but because of this, Wang Kai was even more surprised. Since Bai Yanyan no longer had any ties, why would she recommend herself? The ancestor of the black-winged spiritual tiger clan, Bai Yanyan said with gritted teeth. Her deep blue eyes were filled with murderous intent. Black-winged spiritual tiger clan, Wang Kai raised his eyebrows. He vaguely remembered that in the Demon Continent, the biggest enemy of the Nine Fox Mountain was the black-winged spiritual tiger clan. As the overlords of the southern region, the two clans were naturally in a state of conflict. Does their clan have such a powerful ancestor? What level is he at? Wang Kai asked curiously. No matter how strong he was only in the Saint realm. Could it be that there was an immortal realm expert? Bai Yanyan nodded slightly, her beautiful eyes filled with murderous intent. After the seal of the immortal martial domain was broken, the immortal realm experts of the various provinces all left. However, the black-winged spiritual tiger clan had an immortal emperor ancestor who revived. Before he died, he destroyed the Nine Fox Mountain and wanted the black-winged spiritual tiger clan to dominate the southern region of the Demon Continent. So that's how it was in the Spirit Continent. Lin Hantian and his sister had said that the Lin clan was destroyed. However, there was an immortal emperor ancestor who had been hiding under the Lin clan's ruins, guarding the Sun Tree. In that case, it was not surprising that the black-winged spiritual tiger clan had an immortal emperor ancestor. So you were not at the Nine Fox Mountain at that time? Wang Kai shrugged and asked indifferently. I was. I thought that the power of the immortal emperor ancestor could destroy me. Who knew that in the end I survived with the help of the eternal divine flame. However, my clan. This time, I came to the Eight Baron to find a way to revive my clan and kill the black-winged spiritual tiger clan's ancestor. Bai Yanyan said coldly. The eternal divine flame was very powerful. Wang Kai heard this and grinned. No matter how strong Bai Yanyan was at that time, she could only have been in the Saint realm or just entered the immortal martial realm. She could have survived the attack of a peak immortal emperor ancestor. He had to admit that the undying divine flame was indeed powerful. As for Bai Yanyan being able to reach the 8 Desolaces in a short time, Wang Kai didn't care at all. Once the seal of the immortal martial realm was broken, the amount of spiritual energy here would surely be exceedingly vast. For those with sufficient talent, if they wanted to transform into the Tao, it was simply too easy. What's more, Bai Yanyan was the controller of the strange flame. Thinking of this, Wang Kai could not help but narrow his eyes. He thought to himself, I think Fatty Lu and the others should have also come to the 8 Desolations, right? I'm looking forward to meeting them. Plop. Suddenly, Bai Yanyan knelt on the ground, her deep blue eyes filled with expectation as she looked at Wang Kai. In a low voice, she pleaded, "Master, I've heard that you can refine the 9 revolutions soul return pill. I don't know if you can refine some for this servant. Yan Yan is willing to serve Master as a servant for the rest of my life, and will never be disloyal. 9 transformations soul return pill." No wonder Bai Yanyan was so obedient. After all this time, she just wanted the 9 revolutions soul return pill. Wang Kai curled his lips, speechless. At first, he thought it was due to his charm, but now it seemed that he had completely taken it for granted. Although the 9 revolutions soul return pill can revive the dead, it requires the method of death, not the destruction of the soul, and the physical body must be complete. Can you do that? Wang Kai said indifferently. Shua. Hearing this, Bai Yanyan's expression immediately became pained. She lowered her head deeply, pursed her lips, and said in a trembling voice, "Yan Yan knows about this. There are less than 100 tribes with intact bodies and not destroyed souls. I hope Master can help." Less than 100. There were more than 10,000 tribes in the 9 Fox Mountain, and there were less than 100 with intact bodies? Is that immortal emperor ancestor of the black-winged spirit tiger clan an idiot? Since he wants to destroy the 9 Fox Mountain, there are still… Cough, cough, don't misunderstand, I don't mean anything else. Wang Kai said halfway, looking at Bai Yanyan's trembling body. He couldn't help but awkwardly choke back his words. "Master, there are less than 100 tribes that are in the immortal martial realm. Their damaged bodies can be healed with the help of the immortal divine flame bloodline, but their souls can't be healed. As for the other tribes, I hope Master can help." Bai Yanyan said in a low voice. They were in the immortal martial realm. The immortal divine flame bloodline. Wang Kai was stunned. He didn't expect that after the seal of the immortal martial realm was broken, the number of people who could break through to the immortal martial realm was definitely not a small number. After all, it was the Bai clan of the 8 Desolations, the inheritors of the immortal divine flame bloodline. Or the tribes of the 9 Fox Mountain of the immortal martial realm, the inheritors of the immortal divine flame bloodline? Wang Kai suddenly felt a headache coming on. He didn't care about this matter anymore. Since they came from the immortal martial realm, and they had a relationship, helping her this time wasn't too much. Thinking of this, Wang Kai nodded slightly and said with a calm smile, "Okay, I'll help you. Take out all their corpses." "Thank you, Master." Bai Yanyan was overjoyed. She immediately stood up and threw out a world in her palm. But just as she was about to release the corpses, her arm suddenly froze. "Master, you haven't refined the 9 revolutions soul revival pill. The 9 revolutions soul revival pill is useless. In the immortal martial realm, the souls are controlled by the underworld, and they have to cultivate the underworld Tao again. No matter how strong your tribes are, they can't cultivate from the beginning and reach the Tao transformation realm. So, they can't break through the limit and come to the 8 Desolations." Wang Kai shrugged. Since they couldn't come to the 8 Desolations, no matter how strong the 9 revolutions soul revival pill was, it couldn't break through the limit and forcibly pull the souls of the fox demons from the immortal martial realm. But his own blood was different. Under the operation of the system, any limit was as if it didn't exist. Bai Yanyan suddenly understood. Her beautiful eyes dimmed as she looked at Wang Kai. She said in a low voice, "Master, then why did you ask Yanyan to release the corpses?" Yanyan, she didn't even call herself a servant anymore. Her face changed so quickly. Wang Kai was speechless, but he couldn't be bothered to argue with her. He waved his hand and said, "Take them out. I naturally have a way to revive them. Haha, I'm not boasting, but in this world, any dead person can be revived with full blood with a single breath from me. Congratulations to host for successfully bragging. You've received 100,000 experience and 100 bragging points." Bai Yanyan's beautiful eyes were filled with hesitation. She struggled for a long time before she clenched her teeth and released the 100 fox demon corpses from the world in her palm. Looking at the snow-white fox corpses lying on the ground, Wang Kai sighed helplessly and said, I'm going to have to bleed again. Bleed? What did that mean? Bai Yanyan was stunned. But when she saw Wang Kai flicking out drops of blood with his finger, her beautiful eyes suddenly widened. She covered her red lips in shock. Could it be that his blood had the power to revive? Chapter 520. However, when all the blood dripped into the fox demon corpses, Bai Yanyan was pleasantly surprised. The fox demon corpses all woke up. As their bodies gradually moved, their eyes also slowly opened. However, they were still a little dazed and exhausted. After blinking their eyes a few times, they fell asleep again. Master, they... Seeing this, Bai Yanyan turned pale with fright and hurriedly looked at Wang Kai with an urgent gaze. Wang Kai was speechless at this. He shrugged and smiled with an indifferent expression. It's true that my blood can help them come back to life, but they have been dead for so long. It will take time for them to recover as soon as possible. Hearing this, Bai Yanyan secretly breathed a sigh of relief. Patting her proud chest, her beautiful eyes faintly flickered. Suddenly she said, Master, if we give them some more blood, wouldn't it be nonsense? Do you think I'm a pig? Do you think you can bleed whenever you want? Quickly put them away. Otherwise, if I get angry, I will let them say goodbye to this world forever. Wang Kai snorted with a dark face. Although with his current cultivation, he wouldn't fall into a weakened state if he let out some more blood, who would like to bleed for no reason. To be able to save their lives was already good enough. Master, don't be angry. I understand. Bai Yanyan quickly bowed. Then, she turned her hand and released the world in her palm, sucking all the fox demon corpses into it. After doing all this, Bai Yanyan felt at ease, but at the same time, she was a little nervous. Her jade-like hands pinched the corner of her clothes as she stood there, bashful. She lowered her head slightly, secretly sizing up Wang Kai. Her pretty face flushed red. The corner of Wang Kai's mouth twitched when he saw her shy look. Cough cough, Yanyan, this sect master has lost too much blood and is feeling a little dizzy. Shouldn't we do something to help this sect master recover? Wang Kai squinted his eyes and pretended to be weak. Such a scene made Bai Yanyan's delicate body tremble. She naturally knew that Wang Kai was fine. Those words were just for master, I'm willing to pay the price. Bai Yanyan bowed slightly and then reached out her jade-like hands to her clothes. As the alluring short skirt fell off, an explosive and lovely body that could cause people to go crazy was exposed in the air. Especially the bra, it was so thin that 2 protruding points could be seen. Below, there was a pair of slender legs that emitted a soft halo. They were extremely fleshy. After Bai Yanyan took off her clothes, Wang Kai pretended to be indifferent as he swept a few glances over her, shrugged his shoulders, and said with a faint smile, Pay the price? Yan, you still don't understand me. As the embodiment of justice and the guide of light, how can I take advantage of the opportunity? Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 100,000 experience points and 100 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the 9th grade hierarch realm. As soon as these words came out, Bai Yanyan's heart became more and more ashamed. Obviously, he was so interested in it, but he said it so seriously. If he really didn't mean it, why did he wait until she took off her clothes to say it? He should have said before she took off her clothes that she didn't need to repay him with her body. However, at this point, Bai Yanyan naturally knew that she had no way out. Not to mention, this was her own decision. Then, under Wang Kai's pretentious refusal, Bai Yanyan bit her lips and moved her slender jade-like legs, directly sticking to Wang Kai's body. In the end, she went limp in his arms. Sensing the soft, boneless, and fragrant body in his embrace, Wang Kai's heart couldn't help but jump. It was truly ecstasy. Yan Yan, since you love this hierarch so much and are so attached to me, this hierarch is a kind person who doesn't know how to refuse others, so this hierarch can only sacrifice himself to fulfill your wish. Wang Kai's eyes narrowed slightly, but the corners of his mouth couldn't help but widen, revealing a rather licentious smile. Congratulations to the host for bragging. Congratulations to the host for bragging. However, when Wang Kai stretched out his hand to touch Bai Yanyan, before he could touch her, an extremely angry reprimand came from outside. Bastard Wang Kai! Get out here and accept your punishment! Swish! Hearing these words, Wang Kai's face suddenly darkened. Looking at his stiff palm that was less than a foot away from Bai Yanyan's chest, his heart almost broke. Damn it! Who is it? How dare you come and disturb this cult master's good deed, cough, cough, disturb this cult master's great deed of sacrificing himself for justice. Wang Kai's face was gloomy as he withdrew his hand. He stood up and started to curse outside the tent. Congratulations to the host for bragging successfully. You've gained 1,000,000 experience. Seeing this, Bai Yanyan's face became more and more red. She quickly put on her clothes, bowed slightly, and said softly, Master, this servant will always be yours. Hiss! Hearing such a disgusting voice and those words, Wang Kai suddenly felt an evil fire exploding. He couldn't wait to punish Bai Yanyan on the spot. Bastard! You killed Su Dingzhou, the head of the Hanlin Academy. The Sky Emperor has already issued an order to send General Ho of the Heaven Exterminating Army to arrest you and punish you. General Ho? The Sky Emperor's order? Punish me? Hearing this, Wang Kai's pupils suddenly shrank. He unwillingly glanced at Bai Yanyan, and could only grit his teeth and quickly walk out of the tent. Outside, there were more than 100 figures. The leader was a scholar of the Hanlin Academy. Beside him stood a middle-aged man in armor with a long saber in his hand. He had a full beard and a square face. He was very intimidating. Behind them, there were more than 100 soldiers. But these soldiers were not ordinary soldiers. Each of them had the aura of an ultimate god realm. Are these the so-called soldiers of a general? Ultimate god realm. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and glanced at them casually. Then, he looked at the Grand Scholar of the Hanlin Academy and said with disdain, You've got the wrong person, haven't you? What does the death of the head of the Hanlin Academy have to do with this hierarch? Swoosh, swoosh. At the same time, the figures of Lu Tian and others also appeared beside Wang Kai. They all stared at the soldiers with cold eyes and full of fighting spirit. Even if they knew that they couldn't defeat an ultimate god realm expert, they still wanted to fight. Especially Yang Wei, who was already rubbing his hands. Because they knew very well that with Wang Kai here, even if a heavenly master came, it would be useless. Bastard! Even till now you still dare to quibble. The two ghostly things behind you are the culprits who killed Sect Master Su, and you, as their leader, are the mastermind behind it. Add another crime. The Grand Scholar of the Hanlin Academy scolded coldly. Whoosh! Hearing these words, the green ghost and red ghost immediately widened their eyes. However, before they could get angry, Wang Kai had already roared with a dark expression, F***ck your grandpa. Not only did you disturb this hierarch's beautiful matter, you even dare to speak to this hierarch in such a tone. You're really tired of living. Beat him up. Yes. Hierarch. Whoosh. In an instant, Lu Tian and the others, who were already impatient, immediately cupped their fists and accepted the order. Then, regardless of whether the enemy was strong or weak, they attacked. Chapter 521. Everyone, step back. Bang. Bang bang. Suddenly, before Lu Tian and the others could get close, they heard the leader, General Ho, give an order. The moment the order was given, the soldiers took 2 steps back in unison. They held their spears with solemn expressions and looked straight ahead without saying a word. At the same time, General Ho also stepped back without any ripples. What's going on? Not going to fight? Lu Tian and the others were stunned when they saw this. They looked at each other and looked at the soldiers in astonishment. Seeing that they did not have the slightest intention to fight, they could not help but become more curious. They had clearly come to denounce them, but now they had no intention of fighting. Lu Tian and the others had wanted to take the lead, but the other party had retreated without fighting. General Ho, what are you doing? Do you want to defy the Sky Emperor's order? The Hanlin Academy scholar's face was extremely ugly. In particular, the retreat of General Ho and the others had caused him to suddenly appear in front of them. His lonely appearance was like a candle in the wind. The Sky Emperor's order is to capture the culprit who killed Sect Master Su, but I have not seen the culprit. General Ho said in a neither servile nor overbearing manner. Swoosh. The Grand Secretary's face immediately darkened when he heard these words. He suddenly raised his arm and pointed at the green and red ghosts, then at Wang Kai, and sternly reprimanded, "The real culprit and the mastermind are both here. Why haven't you given the order to capture them?" However, General Ho did not say another word. He did not even have the intention to look at him. He, little brat, you are a dignified Hanlin Academy scholar. You are such an awesome person who controls public opinion. In the end, when something happens, you still have to rely on the heaven-exterminating army to clean up your mess. TSK, what are you waiting for? Beat him up. Beat him up until his father can't recognize him. Wang Kai said with a mocking smile. Yes. Sect Master. Swoosh. Bang. Suddenly, Lu Tian and the others stepped forward. The Hanlin Academy scholar did not have time to react before he vomited blood and fell to the ground. What? Bang. Bang bang bang. In an instant, under the kicks of Lu Tian and the others, the Hanlin Academy scholar was beaten beyond recognition. His body was riddled with wounds, and his limbs were broken beyond recognition. Too weak. Trash like you who doesn't have the slightest bit of strength, and yet pretends to be pretentious with martial cultivators. I, Yang Wei, disdain to beat you. Yang Wei clapped his hands and snorted with disdain. As soon as he finished speaking, he lifted his leg and kicked him again before stepping back. You! Wow, damn you! Who told you to act tough? Why did you come to the military camp to show off instead of studying in the literary world? Let me beat you to death, you pretentious prick! Bang! The green and red ghosts were even crueler. They directly slapped the Grand Scholar's mouth until it exploded. The Grand Scholar whimpered and tears flowed from the corners of his eyes. Let him live, let him know how to behave in the future. In this world where martial arts are respected, only I can suppress people with words. As for the others, forget it. Wang Kai shook his head and sighed. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 100,000 experience and 100 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to rank 1 earthly venerable realm. Host, Wang Kai. Profession, martial artist, talisman cultivator, array cultivator. Auxiliary profession, alchemist. Realm, rank 1 earthly venerable. Cultivation arts, the art of bragging, alchemy. Codex, spiritual codex. Magic, luck deprivation technique, soul manipulation technique, sky sealing technique, underworld sand sea technique, great summoning technique, 12 turns of silver moon equipment, Tower of Babel, 9 dragon cauldron, god punishing brush, 1000 formation seal diagram, ever-changing, fan, ice flying sword bloodline, level 10 physique, 9-5 supreme body protector beast, Lan Qianqiu, heavenly venerable realm. Bragging points, 7, 130 experience, 30000300000. Wang Kai casually glanced at it and activated his mind to close it. Now that he had reached the earthly venerable realm, Luo Ning, who was among the protector beasts, had disappeared. It could be seen that the protector beasts were only recorded by cultivators who were stronger than themselves. It's a pity that this sect master hasn't summoned her yet. Wang Kai shrugged and sighed with a regretful expression. Host, the protector beasts that are not in the record can still be summoned, but they are not qualified to be recorded by the system. Hearing the notification, Wang Kai raised his eyebrows. He had to admit that the system was really good at bragging. Poof! You. General Ho, plop! Suddenly, General Ho waved his long saber and came in front of the Grand Secretary. With a sweep of his saber, the Grand Secretary's neck was slit open. The Grand Secretary of the Hanlin Academy fell to the ground with his eyes wide open. He was no longer breathing. Men, arrest them all. First, they killed Chancellor Su of the Hanlin Academy. Now, they have disobeyed the orders of the Emperor of Heaven and killed Grand Secretary Zhou. They deserve to die. General Ho waved his long saber and said calmly, "Bang! Bang bang!" Among the soldiers, two ultimate god experts suddenly walked out. They cupped their fists together and bowed. "Yes, General." Whoosh! Immediately after, the two ultimate god soldiers waved their spears in one hand and took out their black chains in the other. They went straight to Wang Kai and the others. Wang Kai's pupils abruptly shrank when he saw this. He looked at General Ho, whose face was still as calm as an ancient well, and said with a mocking smile, "General Ho, you dare to trick this sect master?" At the same time, Lu Tian, Yang Wei, Jin Yi, the Green and Red Ghosts, the Soul-Devouring Ghost Emperor, and the White Bone Ghost King all came in front of Wang Kai in a flash. They waved their hands and shouted in unison, 10 revolutions of the silver moon. This battle will not end until we die. Buzz. Suddenly, the aura of Lu Tian and the others soared from the human venerable realm to the holy venerable realm, and finally to the immortal venerable realm. On the contrary, the bloodline power of the two ultimate gods who had stepped into Lu Tian's area was also instantly suppressed to the point that they were no longer in existence. General, they possess a secret technique that can suppress the power of our bloodline. Should we kill them or not? The two ultimate god experts suddenly stopped in their tracks and asked solemnly with a frown. Their eyes were fixed on Lu Tian and the others as if they were afraid they would run away. Just capture them. General Ho narrowed his eyes and looked at Lu Tian and the others in surprise. He immediately gave the order. Swoosh! Swoosh swoosh! As soon as he finished speaking, the two ultimate god experts waved their spears and chains and directly attacked Lu Tian and the others. Seeing this, Lu Tian and the others gritted their teeth. Even if they knew they were no match for them, they still had to fight. After all, as a member of the Discord sect, there was no reason not to stand up. You guys are really good at acting tough. Do you know how severe the consequences of tricking this sect master are? Whoosh! Buzz! Suddenly, before Lu Tian and the others could make a move, they heard Wang Kai's voice as he gnashed his teeth, accompanied by an extremely terrifying pressure. Bang! Bang! Wang Kai's figure flashed and directly appeared in front of the two ultimate god experts. He put his hands behind his back and stared coldly at them. Immediately, the two ultimate god soldiers were suppressed and sent flying while vomiting blood. The chains and spears exploded in the air. The aura of a heavenly venerable expert? General Ho and the other soldiers' expressions changed slightly when they sensed Wang Kai's aura. Chapter 522. The sect leader is mighty, domineering, and handsome. The sect leader is cool, crazy, and awesome. The sect leader has unified the 8 wastelands and lasted for thousands of years. The sect leader is as blessed as the heavens. Following Lu Tian's lead, the green and red ghosts, as well as the soul-devouring Ghost Emperor, exclaimed loudly. The remaining White Bone Ghost King and Wild Lion Gold One looked at each other, speechless. You've said all the good things. What should we say? But now the sect leader is showing off in front of us. If we don't say anything, won't we have a hard time in the future? Thinking of this, the White Bone Ghost King rolled his eyes and shouted desperately, "The sect leader is the supreme of the 8 wastelands." Even the Celestial Emperor washed the sect leader's feet. Yes, the Celestial Emperor did wash the sect leader's feet. The sect leader is so awesome. Gold One raised his paw and scratched his head. Such words made Lu Tian and the others despise him, especially the White Bone Ghost King, who was obviously imitating him to flatter the sect leader. However, Yang Wei's next sentence made them collectively dumbfounded. Why are you beating around the bush? The sect leader is awesome. Yang Wei shook his arm and glanced at them with disdain in his eyes. You? Yang Wei, you want to fight? Lu Tian scolded angrily. Do you think I'm afraid of you? Yang Wei glared at him. Cut the crap. Let's fight. This time I'm on your side. The green and red ghosts shouted and took the lead to attack Yang Wei together with Lu Tian. At the same time, the soul-devouring Ghost Emperor and the White Bone Ghost King were not to be outdone. They were extremely annoyed by Yang Wei's disdain and immediately besieged him. Only Gold One was left. He was stunned. Looking at them, he raised his paw and pointed at Wang Kai. He said in a silly voice, "The sect leader is fighting with the enemy. You're fighting among yourselves now, aren't you? Ow ow. Who hit me?" Rumble. Suddenly, before the Berserk Lion King could finish his sentence, he was hit hard on the head. He was so angry that he roared and rushed into the battlefield. When he saw this scene, Wang Kai's face was already as dark as ink. He glanced at Lu Tian and the others from the corner of his eyes, and the corners of his mouth could not help but twitch. In the face of a great enemy, they actually had internal strife. Ha ha. A sect with no rules like yours dares to call itself the sect master? Is there any difference between him and a hooligan? Waha. General, please do it and teach them a lesson. In an instant, the godly venerable bodyguards burst into laughter while holding their bellies. Even as a general of an army, he could not help but laugh at such a scene. General Ho waved his hand, stopping the soldiers from laughing. He turned to look at Wang Kai and said indifferently, "Your cultivation is not bad. Hand over the culprit who killed Chancellor Su to take the blame. You will follow this general in the future." Swoosh. As soon as he said that, Wang Kai twisted his eyebrows and looked at him mockingly. His body suddenly moved, and without saying a word, he swung his fist and punched out. Your real realm is only first-grade earthly venerable realm. Relying on the power of your bloodline, you have reached first-grade heavenly venerable realm. Don't think that you are the only one who can use 10th-grade bloodline. General Ho sneered disdainfully and stood still, allowing Wang Kai's attack to come. You really know how to act tough. 12 turns of the silver moon. Buzz. Suddenly, Wang Kai's body stopped halfway, and a silver crescent moon hung above his head. And Wang Kai's aura also soared, directly breaking through the boundary of heavenly venerable and reaching 3rd grade supreme martial artist. From the original 1st grade heavenly venerable realm, he had risen by 12 grades. Sensing that Wang Kai's aura had risen again, General Ho's pupils shrank, and a sense of fear rose in his heart. The realm where the pressure had risen was beyond his understanding. Bang! Crack! However, before General Ho could even make a move to defend himself, Wang Kai, who already possessed the strength of an exalt, had already mysteriously appeared in front of him. With a single punch, General Ho was immediately smashed into the ground. The ground cracked and spread for thousands of meters, causing the ultimate God realm bodyguards to lose their balance and fall to the ground. So what if you have 10th grade bloodline? In front of me, the power of your bloodline will disappear. So what if you are at the peak of the earthly venerable realm? I am at the sovereign realm. As long as the true sovereign realm does not appear, I am invincible. Wang Kai sneered arrogantly. With his hands behind his back, he stood on the spot and looked down at General Ho, who was embedded in the ground. Relying on the power of his bloodline, he could rise by 10 grades and reach first grade heavenly venerable realm. Then, relying on the 12 revolutions of the silver moon, he could rise by another 12 grades and reach third grade sovereign realm. At the same time, the 12 revolutions of the silver moon could suppress the opponent's bloodline power. Just like what Wang Kai had said, as long as the true sovereign realm did not appear, he was invincible. Sovereign. Tian. The sect leader is a sovereign realm expert. Wow! The Discord sect is a sovereign realm force. The 11th sovereign realm force. The sect leader is mighty. The sect leader is mighty. In an instant, the fluctuation of Wang Kai's aura was clearly sensed by Lu Tian and the others. They were stunned for a moment and were frozen on the spot. However, they quickly regained their senses and began to laugh heartily. Even Yang Wei was excited at this moment. At first, he thought it was a mistake to join the Discord sect, but now there was a sovereign realm expert in charge. Even the soul-devouring Ghost Emperor, White Bone Ghost King, and the Green and Red Ghosts were full of energy at this moment. A supreme-level force could stand shoulder to shoulder with Soul Break Valley's supreme heavenly ghost. Haha, the 11th sovereign realm force? Wrong, wrong, wrong. With me around, there will be no more sovereign realm forces in the world, only the Discord sect. The supremacy of supremacies. Wang Kai shrugged and said with a smile, "Congratulations to the host for bragging successfully. You have gained 100,000 experience points and 100 bragging points." Ha, that's right. I am the first Grand Elder of the Discord sect. I have unified the 8 wastelands and awed the world. The day is just around the corner. Lu Tian laughed and danced with joy. Even the corners of his eyes were filled with tears. His dream was to dominate the East Continent and unify the 8 wastelands, but that was just a dream. Now, the sect leader of the Discord sect was a sovereign realm expert. He was not far away from awing the 8 wastelands. Don't be so pretentious. The Heavenly Emperor has given the order. If you don't obey, you will die even if you are a sovereign. Suddenly, General Ho climbed out of the ground angrily and stared at Wang Kai with a bruised face. How dare you say I'm bragging? Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and stared at him mockingly. At this moment, Lu Tian and the others walked over with unfriendly faces. You. I am the general of the Heaven Exterminating Troop, an official of the Heavenly Court. The Heavenly Emperor has ordered me to arrest you. Do you dare to kill me? General Ho shouted boldly. Kill you? TSK. Wang Kai shrugged when he heard this. He looked at him with a mocking expression and said with a faint smile, "Wouldn't it be too boring to kill you? Haha, some people are more interesting not to kill." Swoosh. Looking at Wang Kai, General Ho's heart skipped a beat. His body trembled slightly and he said in a trembling voice, What do you want to do? I would rather be killed than humiliated." Chapter 523. A soldier prefers death to humiliation? Wang Kai raised his eyebrows and shrugged playfully. He nodded and said with a smile, "Since you want to die to atone for your sins, I'll fulfill a general's dying wish. I've decided to kill you." Whoosh. As Wang Kai raised his hand, General Ho was so scared that his face turned pale. He waved his hands and shouted anxiously, No, don't kill me." Bang. However, Wang Kai still slapped him. General Ho's body tilted and the side of his face was embedded in the ground. "If you don't want to be humiliated and you don't want to die, why did you make it sound so nice? A soldier prefers death to humiliation. TSK. How did you become a general when you're so cowardly? What are you thinking? How dare you play tricks with me? Wang Kai sneered with disdain. General Ho was so regretful that his intestines turned green. If I had known you were so powerful, would I have done this? As for the murderer, as long as Grand Secretary Zhou is dead, I could have planted someone else. But now, it's too late to say anything. General Ho, who was terrified, could only tell the truth. Sect leader Wang, you don't know. I'm just a temporary general. In the heaven exterminating army, an earthly venerable can become a general. The real 5 generals are all celestial venerables. They rarely appear in the army, so there were 5 camps in the heaven exterminating army. They were the Wang family, the Xiao family, and the Bai family. The other 2 were the Ji family and the Ho family. Each of the 5 forces had a celestial venerable expert. Since the earthly venerable General Ho in front of him was not a real general, then who are you? Don't tell me you're just a small fry in the Ho family. Wang Kai raised his eyebrows and said with a playful expression, "A small fry?" General Ho was stunned when he heard this. Naturally, he did not understand what this meant. However, from his tone, he did not seem to be very strong. Thinking of this, he quickly nodded and said, "Sect leader Wang is right. I am only an elder of the Ho family. In the Ho family there are hundreds of elders, and the strongest is the patriarch. The peak of the earthly venerable realm was only one of the Ho family's elders. Moreover, there were hundreds of such experts. As expected of the general's residence of the central wilderness, it was indeed powerful. However, in Wang Kai's eyes, all of this was just a fart. So according to you, you can't see my celestial emperor's concubine? Wang Kai frowned and said with a rather unfriendly look, "Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 100,000 experience points and 100 bragging points." He had originally planned to take the opportunity to directly contact the Heavenly Emperor, but who would have thought that this General Ho was just a temporary general? However, it made sense. If the generals of the heaven exterminating army were only earthly venerables, their existence would be meaningless. The heavenly emperor's concubine. When General Ho heard this, the corners of his mouth twitched violently. His heart was filled with endless contempt and disdain, but he nodded respectfully and said, "That's right, I can't see the heavenly emperor. The order I received this time was only transmitted by the family head." When he heard this, Wang Kai raised his eyebrows slightly. If that was the case, only the real generals of the 5 camps, who were the family heads of their respective forces, could see the heavenly emperor. F***CKU. After all this time, you're not even worth a fart. You're wasting my time. You deserve to die. Kill him for me. Wang Kai snorted with an unfriendly look. He immediately lifted his foot and kicked General Ho, sending him flying. Then, the green ghost and the red ghost were the first to act. They naturally did not have a good impression of someone who wanted to take them back to be beheaded. Immediately, the green ghost and the red ghost chopped General Ho into pieces. Seeing this, Wang Kai was startled, especially when he saw that General Ho couldn't be any more dead. His face couldn't help but darken. If he had killed General Ho with his own hands, wouldn't he have received another reward? A peak grade 9 earthly venerable. If he had killed General Ho with his grade 1 earthly venerable cultivation, the reward would have been, forget it. I'm kind and benevolent. I don't like to kill. I'm even afraid of stepping on small ants when I'm walking, let alone a person. Sigh, there aren't many people in the world who are as kind and righteous as me. Wang Kai shook his head and sighed. What he said made Lu Tian and the others roll their eyes. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 100,000 experience and 100 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to grade 2 earthly venerable realm. Sect leader, what about these soldiers? Can we kill them? His cultivation and fleshly body are both very delicious. The green ghost and the red ghost laughed hideously, their mouths dripping with blood. General Ho's body had already been divided and eaten by them. His cultivation had increased in an instant, directly breaking through from grade 1 human venerable to grade 2 human venerable. Leave his soul to me. Whoosh! Suddenly, the soul-devouring ghost emperor hurriedly swallowed General Ho's soul, which was about to dissipate, into his stomach. His cultivation also increased, from grade 1 human venerable to grade 2 human venerable. Seeing this, the White Bones Ghost King smacked his lips, secretly regretting his slow action. Such a good opportunity to increase one's cultivation was rare in the Soul Valley. After all, there were very few peak earthly venerables who entered the Soul Valley. Even if there were, they would not be able to defeat them. Looking at Lu Tian, Jin Yi, and Yang Wei, they were all a little envious. Ghost cultivators had the most powerful way to increase their cultivation. In the cultivation of ghost cultivators, they could comprehend the way of heaven or not. Under the premise that they did not comprehend the way of heaven, they had to swallow experts with profound cultivation to directly deprive them of the perfect way of heaven that they had comprehended. For those who want to kill us, we naturally have to give them the most severe blow. Hengtian sect, let's make a name for ourselves in the sky exterminating army. Wang Kai shrugged and said with an indifferent expression. As the saying went, a wildfire would not burn out the wildfire, and it would grow again when the spring breeze blew. Since the invaders wanted to take their lives, they had to be prepared to be wiped out. It was also a good opportunity to inform the experts in Central and 8 Wilderness through this. If anyone dared to offend the Hengtian sect, none of them would survive. Then, under the suppression of Wang Kai's aura, the soldiers could not move at all. They could only look at the green and red ghosts, the soul-devouring ghost emperor, and the white bones ghost king in horror and despair. As blood splattered, the military advisor department turned into a river of blood. In the end, the blood was completely devoured by the 4 ghost cultivators. The cultivation of the 4 ghost cultivators also increased tremendously. The green and red ghosts, the soul-devouring ghost emperor, and the White Bones Ghost King had all reached the holy venerable realm. In the Ho family army, 1 earthly venerable general and 100 ultimate venerable soldiers, none of them survived. Even their corpses and divine souls were not left behind. I want to become a ghost cultivator. Lu Tian put his hands on his waist and looked at the scene with red eyes. The envy, jealousy, and hatred were especially obvious. Become a ghost cultivator? I can help you, but after I kill you, you will have to cultivate from the beginning. Moreover, the more living people you devour, the stronger the tribulation you will experience. If they continue to devour like this, when they break through to the heavenly venerable realm in the future, the heavenly venerable realm tribulation that comes will make them. Yang Wei frowned and snorted. As he spoke, his eyes were full of worry as he looked at Wang Kai. He was puzzled. How could someone with such a strong cultivation like Wang Kai not know the disadvantages of devouring living people? Chapter 524. We have to cultivate from the beginning? Won't we become martial disciples then? Forget it then. This elder doesn't have the leisure and elegance to act cool from the beginning again. Lu Tian grinned when he heard this and said rather speechlessly. However, Yang Wei didn't care about this at all. He glanced at Lu Tian with disdain, then looked at Wang Kai and said with a frown, "Sect leader, they will face a calamity in the future. Don't worry. When we reach the heavenly venerate realm, we just need to return to the Soul Break Valley. The heavenly tribulation won't come there." Red Ghost grinned. Green Ghost, the soul-devouring Ghost Emperor, and the White Bone Ghost King smacked their lips nonchalantly. They were pleasantly surprised when they sensed the increase in their cultivation. If they could continue to devour like this, reaching the earthly venerate realm would be just around the corner. Brother Red Ghost is right. Back then, heavenly ghost sovereign devoured living beings wantonly in the Eight Desolate. After reaching the peak of the earthly venerate realm, he returned to the Soul Break Valley to break through to the heavenly venerate realm. After successfully reaching the heavenly venerate realm, he appeared again in the Eight Desolate. After 3,000 years, he successfully stepped into the ranks of Supremes. Green Ghost said with anticipation. Hearing this, Wang Kai raised his eyebrows and said with a surprised expression, "In that case, there are countless heavenly venerates in the Soul Break Valley? Heavenly Ghost Sovereign isn't the only Supremes, right?" No. Sect leader, you don't know. In the Eight Desolates there can only be 10 Supremes, the same as the Eight Desolate Supremes. Unless a supremacy dies, the other peak heavenly venerates have the chance to step into the ranks of Supremes. Green Ghost shook his head. That's right. Moreover, the Soul Break Valley is now under the orders of the past heavenly emperors. Heavenly Ghost Sovereign was able to ascend to the top because there weren't many Supremes in the Eight Desolates at that time. The heavenly court hadn't been established yet, Red Ghost said with admiration. Although they didn't belong to the Soul Break Valley now, their admiration and envy for Heavenly Ghost Sovereign couldn't be faked. To be able to come across the right opportunity at the right time, Sovereign Heavenly Ghost's luck and talent must be extremely strong. However, these words caused Wang Kai to suddenly become stunned. He cried out in disbelief, "The Heavenly Court has yet to be established, but the Heavenly Ghost Sovereign has already existed. So far, there have already been 9 generations, with each generation lasting 10,000 years. Doesn't this mean that the Heavenly Ghost Sovereign has already existed for 90,000 years? One had to know that every 10,000 years, the next Celestial Emperor would appear. Then, where did the previous Celestial Emperor go? Supreme Heavenly Ghost could exist for 90,000 years, so the other Celestial Emperors couldn't possibly be weak. If that was the case, why were there only 10 Supremes in the 8 Desolates? Logically speaking, there should be 9 Supremes in the 9 generations of the Heavenly Court. That's right. The Soul Break Valley is different from the other Supreme Being forces. 4 generations, the Master of the Soul Break Valley has only been Supreme Heavenly Ghost. There has never been a successor, the Soul-Devouring Ghost Emperor said with a frown. The Green and Red Ghosts and the White Bone Ghost King were well aware of this. Although their status in the Soul Break Valley was extremely low, they were still very clear about the matters of Supreme Heavenly Ghost. After all, Supreme Heavenly Ghost was the master of the Soul Break Valley, the worshipper of all ghost cultivators. Yes, this elder has also heard a little about this matter. The masters of the other Supreme Being forces have the same tenure as the Celestial Emperor. Every 10,000 years, a new Supreme Being will appear. As for the previous Supreme Being, there is also no news. Lu Tian said with his hands behind his back, his eyes filled with wisdom. Hearing their words, Wang Kai was immediately surprised. The 10 Supreme Being forces, 9 of them had a tenure of 10,000 years, and there was a replacement every 10,000 years. But the Master of the Soul Break Valley was always Supreme Heavenly Ghost. Moreover, there were ghost soldiers and ghost generals in the Celestial Emperor's Supreme City. What do the 10 Supreme Being forces want to do? It's quite interesting. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and said with a teasing smile. No matter what the purpose of the 10 Supreme Being forces was, in Wang Kai's view, there must be a shocking scheme. Rest for a night. In the future, when you devour living beings, you can't use such disgusting methods. You can just blow them up and turn them into blood and chi to devour. Otherwise, a soft-hearted and righteous person like this sect master really can't stand such a cruel method. Wang Kai shrugged and said with a casual smile, "Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 100,000 experience and 100 bragging points. Cruel? benevolence and righteousness? Soft-hearted? When Lu Tian and the others heard this, they looked at each other in unison, feeling extremely disdainful. When it comes to cruelty, I'm afraid no one can compare to you, right? As for benevolence and soft-heartedness, Lu Tian and the others pretended not to hear it. If Wang Kai was a benevolent and righteous person, then no one in the world would dare to call themselves evil. Inside the tent, Wang Kai walked in with an indifferent expression. When he entered the tent, he could no longer maintain his indifference. Especially when he looked at Bai Yanyan, who was lying on the long table with her body slanted. That pair of snow-white and slender jade legs were emitting a faint halo of light. That extremely sensual sight really caused Wang Kai's breathing to become somewhat heavy. It had been 3 years since he left the immortal martial domain, and he had never experienced that kind of ecstasy. Little girl, you are tempting this sect master, right? Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and smiled with a licentious expression. His heart felt as if thousands of ants were crawling, itching unbearably. Bai Yanyan leaned on the long table and supported her head with her hands. She said with a charming smile, "Master, this servant said that I will always be yours." Hearing such words, Wang Kai could no longer bear it. As the saying goes, if you don't take a woman, you are not a real man. With such a beauty delivered to your door, if you are still indifferent, then you are not a real man. Immediately, Wang Kai gave a low roar. With a tap of his foot, he charged towards Bai Yanyan. "Sect master, there is a boy called Ji Baichen who wants to see you." Suddenly, before Wang Kai arrived in front of Bai Yanyan, Lu Tian's voice sounded outside the tent. "Let him wait outside. No one is allowed to disturb this sect master. This sect master's soul is wandering outside the heavens, discussing the matters of the common people with the great Tao of the heavens, and discussing the problem of fertility in the future." Wang Kai snorted with a dark face and a rather unfriendly tone. "Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have gained 100,000 experience and 100 bragging points." Outside the tent, Lu Tianwen came to a sudden realization when he heard this. All the words that Wang Kai had said before were automatically ignored. Only the last sentence about the problem of fertility. Lu Tian was suddenly enlightened. "Did you hear that? The sect master is busy. You can go back and come back tomorrow." Lu Tian put his hands behind his back and imitated Wang Kai's appearance. He held his head high and said in a rather unfriendly tone. Hearing this, Wang Kai raised his eyebrows, secretly praising Lu Tian for being tactful. Then his eyes wandered over Bai Yanyan's beautiful body, and he could not help but swallow his saliva, stretching out his hand to caress her jade legs. "Sect Master Wang, I am the temporary general of the Ji family, Ji Tong. After hearing the words of my brother, Baichen, I have come to discuss the matter of cooperation with the sect master. I hope that the sect master can come out and meet me. At the same time, we can discuss the matter of the Wang family joining forces with the Ho family to harm the sect master." Whoosh! As a crisp and extremely pleasant voice came in, Wang Kai's movements suddenly stopped. The temporary general of the Ji family, Ji Tong, was actually a woman? The Wang family and the Ho family joined forces. They wanted to harm themselves? All these words made Wang Kai frown. Chapter 525. Is it for the dustless bloodline inheritance? When he thought of this, Wang Kai's brows instantly raised. He couldn't help but feel extreme admiration for the Bai clan in his heart. In order to obtain his dustless flame bloodline, they were even willing to send the goddess to his bed. So, Bai Yanyan also had this purpose? Wang Kai's eyes narrowed slightly as he secretly pondered for a while. Then, he placed his hands behind his back and said with a mocking smile, "Haha, that is only natural. There are many women in this world who like this sect master's manhood. After all, this sect master's spear can measure the distance between heaven and earth. But, who do you think you are? Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have gained 100,000 experience and 100 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the 3rd grade earthly venerable realm. He could measure the distance between heaven and earth with his spear. Oh my God! Sect Master, you are good at bragging. Lu Tian was shocked and gave him a thumbs up with admiration. Even Yang Wei's eyes were wide open at this moment. He was extremely impressed by Wang Kai's words. Sect Master, you are really amazing. Although mine is not small, it can't measure the distance between heaven and earth, Gold One said in a serious tone. Looking at the green and red ghosts, the soul-devouring Ghost Emperor and the White Bone Ghost King, they were all stunned and looked at Wang Kai. There was no one in the world who could brag to such an extent. Who do you think I am? Even if I am, I don't mind, as long as you give me that. Bai Ling blinked her beautiful eyes and smiled. Her sweet smile and innocent look made her look like a little girl who had just been born and didn't know anything. But in Wang Kai's view, this woman was not so stupid. She pretended to be like this, but what she said was very honest. The implication was that she didn't care about anything else as long as he gave her the dustless bloodline inheritance. It was a typical one-night stand. Hee, it's late tonight. Yen, you take your sister back. I want to rest. Wang Kai shrugged and said with a rather indifferent expression. At first, he thought that Bai Yen loved him so much that she couldn't stop herself. But who would have thought that it was actually for the dustless flame bloodline? Although Wang Kai didn't mind taking both Bai Yen and Bai Ling in his heart, there was always a feeling of boredom. Wang Kai did not care about the things that he had obtained from the trade. The evil fire from before was instantly extinguished. If one wanted to pursue the joy of intimacy, the love between a man and a woman, where could they not find it? But when it came to being used, Wang Kai would be lucky if he didn't get angry. Master, I didn't do it for Wu Chen. Elder sister, you are indeed here. I heard the same voice in the tent as you. Oh, by the way, Duo Tian Supremes brought their silly son to the mansion and said that you rejected their offer to join the Bai family's military camp. Now, the family master wants to betroth you to Wang Fan. So, you should go back quickly. Leave the matter of the dustless fire bloodline to me. Bai Linger blinked her beautiful eyes and said with a mischievous look on her face. Betrothed to Wang Fan? Whoosh. As soon as these words came out, Bai Yan's beautiful eyes suddenly became dazed. She turned to look at Wang Kai with eyes full of expectation. Her pitiful appearance caused Wang Kai's mouth to twitch. Why are you looking at him? He is mine now. You should go back quickly. The family master said that you should not provoke Duo Tian Supremes. In order to appease their dissatisfaction and anger, he wants you to marry Wang Fan. In this way, you will have to call me sister-in-law in the future. Bai Ling squinted her eyes and smiled sweetly. Sister-in-law? Nothing was set in stone yet, and she was already putting on the airs of being the elder brother's wife? Hearing this, Wang Kai's expression was playful. Putting aside the Bai family's plan for the time being, it was good enough that he didn't beat his disappointing brother to death. As for whether they could become brothers or not, he didn't think about that at all. Go back and tell Duo Tian Supremes and the family master of the Bai family that you are my personal maid. If they want to take advantage of you, they have to ask me first. Also, if they dare to play tricks and pester me, the consequences will be very serious. There are some things that you can't have just because you want them. If you go too far, you will lose your life. Wang Kai shrugged and said quite casually. Whoosh. As soon as his voice fell, Wang Kai turned and walked into the tent. Bai Ling wanted to follow him in, but she was stopped outside by Lu Tian and others. Why are you so arrogant? Isn't it just the Wuchen bloodline? Do you think I care about it? I was just teasing you. Now you are so arrogant. Don't. You. What are you doing? Suddenly, before Bai Ling finished speaking, Wang Kai suddenly appeared outside the tent. Without saying a word, he directly put her on his shoulder and carried her into the tent, regardless of her screams. Master, Sister Ling Seeing this, Bai Yanyan was shocked and immediately wanted to stop him, but she was stopped outside by Lu Tian and others. He, sect master, just asked you to leave, but you didn't. Now you want to leave? It's too late. Lu Tian sneered disdainfully. Yang Wei and the green and red ghosts were also full of coldness at this moment. At the same time, in the tent, Bai Ling had been thrown on the long table by Wang Kai. Looking at the expressionless Wang Kai, Bai Ling was so scared that her pretty face turned pale. Originally, she didn't really intend to do anything with Wang Kai. Just now, she was just playing. After all, she had heard from Bai Yanyan that Wang Kai would not easily submit to the temptation of beauties. After the incident with Yen Ryu, Bai Ling became more and more sure. Yen Ryu was such a beautiful woman and the head of the three beauties in the central wilderness. Wang Kai could be indifferent. It could be seen that he was not a man who would submit at will. But now, all the rumors and evidence had been destroyed. You're not a gentleman on the inside. You're not pretending to be unrestrained. You're a hoodlum from the beginning to the end. You're a bad guy. Bai Ling curled up her delicate body, her hands covering her chest, her beautiful eyes full of fear as she gritted her teeth and reprimanded. Originally, she thought that Wang Kai pretended to be unrestrained on the surface, but in his heart, he was a true gentleman. But now, forcibly doing such a thing, was it still something a gentleman would do? TSK, it turns out that in your mind, this sect master is a gentleman. Not bad, not bad. This sect master is indeed a gentleman. So, this sect master will give you what you want now. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and said with a playful smile. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have gained 100,000 experience and 100 bragging points. As soon as the voice fell, Wang Kai, under the frightened gaze of Bai Ling walked over with a licentious smile on his face. You? Don't come over. No. Sister Yanyan, save me. Bai Ling looked at Wang Kai, who was like a hungry wolf, and suddenly her delicate body trembled in fear. The previous calmness and pretending to be innocent disappeared in an instant. What replaced it was endless panic and loss. Chapter 526. What are you afraid of? What's your name? Weren't you very good at acting tough just now? Why are you so scared now? TSK, little girl, don't be afraid. Big brother is a gentleman. Even if you love me so much that you can't stop, Big brother will still be very gentle. I will let you know what it means to ascend to heaven painlessly. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and smiled with a rather licentious expression. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 100,000 experience points and 100 bragging points. No. In an instant, under Wang Kai's ruthless tearing, Bai Ling clothes were torn to shreds, and her smooth, snow-white skin was exposed to the air. Her alluring figure was faintly discernible, adding to her beauty. You can't do this to me. You took off my clothes. You'd better have me. What? Then, under Wang Kai's merciless tearing, Bai Ling's clothes, undergarments, and other coverings were all torn apart. Looking at Bai Ling who was like a bud, Wang Kai couldn't help but praise her secretly. This girl's figure is not bad. You want me to have you? TSK, beg me. Wang Kai squinted his eyes and laughed mockingly. Whoosh. Hearing this, Bai Ling's eyes were filled with anger. She curled up her body and covered her upper body with her hands, but she couldn't protect her lower body. She could protect her lower body, but she couldn't protect her upper body. In the end, she could only turn around and hide under the long table. You have seen my body. If you don't want me and can't take responsibility, how can I get married in the future? I will hate you for the rest of my life. Bai Ling peeked at Wang Kai secretly and pursed her red lips. Buzz. Crack. Suddenly, Wang Kai waved his hand and smashed the long table into pieces. Bai Ling's soft, fair body appeared in front of him again. You can go now. I don't want to do anything to you because you are too annoying. You need to know that there are as many beautiful women as there are clouds in the world, and those who like me are like carps crossing the river. However, the number of women who like me is not more than 5. Wang Kai shrugged his shoulders, turned his hand, and took out a set of clothes, and threw it over in a rather dashing manner. Congratulations to the host for bragging successfully. You have received 100,000 experience points and 100 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for breaking through to rank 4 Earthly Sovereign Realm. You're A*SS. Bai Ling's eyes were filled with anger. She did not know why, but the fear and shyness that she had felt earlier had disappeared and were replaced by endless anger. Wang Kai raised his eyebrows when he saw this scene. He looked at her with a teasing expression and said with a playful smile, "Little girl, you haven't even grown your hair yet, and you have the nerve to learn from others to seduce men. Are you angry because you failed to seduce him? TSK, you are quite avant-garde." Bai Ling was so angry that her body trembled non-stop. She clenched her teeth and stared coldly at Wang Kai. In the end, she stood up without the slightest shyness, took out a new dress, and put it on in front of Wang Kai. As she was putting them on, she did not even try to hide her graceful movements. However, in Wang Kai's eyes, none of this moved him at all. When a man had a sense of resistance to a woman, no matter how beautiful she was, he would not feel anything. When a man had feelings, his feelings could move the heavens. When he was emotionless, it was as cold as winter. After Bai Ling finished dressing, she gritted her teeth, raised her arm, and pointed at Wang Kai. She cursed, "You shameless man, you will regret it. You despicable man, you will definitely regret it. You will definitely..." Bang. "Regret your ass." Before Bai Ling could finish her words, she was slapped out of the tent by Wang Kai. "Wah! Sister Yan, he bullied me. He took my body, and now he doesn't recognize me anymore." Outside the tent, Bai Ling fell on her butt, which hurt a lot. She immediately rubbed her butt and complained while sobbing. "Ling don't make trouble." Bai Yan was helpless. She pretended to be serious and stared at her. She turned to look at the tent, sighed secretly, and left with Bai Ling. Although the two sisters were not eaten by Wang Kai tonight, he had taken advantage of them. However, they did not get the dustless bloodline as they wished. Their grievances could be imagined. Sect Master's physique is so weak? It's over so quickly? Lu Tian whispered, winking. Yang Wei shook his head and muttered strangely, "Maybe Sect Master looks strong, but he's actually very weak." Haha, it must be so. It's only been a short time. The two ghosts looked at each other, covering their mouths and laughing. The soul-devouring Ghost Emperor and the White-Bone Ghost King also felt strange. According to the power of Wang Kai's majestic body, it should not be so weak. "I can hold on for 100 years, ha ha." Gold One scratched his head and said proudly. Bang! Lu Tian stepped forward and slapped him. He curled his lips and snorted, "You're a demonic beast, do you understand? Don't compare yourself with us humans." "How can you compare?" Hearing the murmurs outside the tent, Wang Kai was really speechless. He immediately gritted his teeth and said with a dark face, "Let's all choose a tent to rest. Tomorrow there may be a big battle." "Yes, Sect Master." As Lu Tian and the others left one after another, Wang Kai lay on the bench, his eyes flickering. First, Su Dingzhou, the master of the Hanlin Academy, died here, then General Ho and 100 soldiers died. Wang Kai did not believe that the heavenly court would sit by and do nothing about such a thing. However, for Wang Kai, who already had the combat power of a supreme, it was not much of a deterrent. As long as a supreme did not appear, he would be invincible. Even if the heavenly emperor personally took action, he would be happy to save the trouble and meet her directly to give the painting to her. Thinking of this, Wang Kai slowly closed his eyes. The corners of his mouth curled into an inexplicable smile as he muttered, "Being invincible in the world is really lonely. Sigh, why is it so difficult to find an opponent who is on par with me? All living beings, all cultivators, can't you be a little more ambitious?" Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 100,000 experience and 100 bragging points. The next day before dawn, the sound of training from afar was transmitted into the tent. It caused Wang Kai to frown very tightly. In the end, he could not bear it and woke up. Damn it! It's so early in the morning. Instead of sleeping and hugging women, you're blindly calling out for your grandpa. Bang! Wang Kai's face darkened. He turned over and kicked the bench into pieces. In the end, he rushed out of the tent aggressively. Lu Tian and the others were already waiting outside. However, they all looked refreshed, without the slightest hint of displeasure. It was as if the sound of the soldiers' drill did not disturb them at all. In fact, it was true. As cultivators, they naturally had to comprehend the heavenly Tao all day and all night. How could they be like Wang Kai, who could sleep whenever he wanted? Chapter 527. Sect Master, your complexion doesn't look too good. Did you not rest well? Qingui asked with a weird expression. Hearing this, Wang Kai's mouth twitched slightly. It would be strange if he could rest well. After being tormented for most of the night, he hadn't slept for more than a few hours. Before dawn, he was already woken up. Other warriors could train without sleep, but Wang Kai couldn't. He wasn't used to that kind of training method. No matter how high his cultivation was, it was hard to accept being woken up from a deep sleep. Master, the commotion you caused last night wasn't small. Suddenly, along with a chuckle, Xiaoyun walked over. Beside him was Bai Yu from the Bai family. However, Bai Yu's complexion wasn't good. It could be seen that he already knew about what happened between Bai Ling and Bai Yanyan last night. Not only did they not get the dustless bloodline, they were also taken advantage of. Not to mention Bai Yu, even the Bai family was furious. However, they had to get the dustless bloodline. Even if they were furious, they had to brace themselves to meet Wang Kai. Master? Sect Master, when did you accept a disciple? Lu Tian asked with a weird expression as he sized up Xiaoyun. When he sensed Xiaoyun's cultivation, he was even more shocked. Hierarch realm. Yang Wei and the others naturally sensed it. They never thought that Wang Kai's disciple would be a hierarch realm expert. Haha, this sect master has tens of thousands of beloved disciples. They can be found everywhere in the world. He is just the weakest disciple of this sect master. He is not worth mentioning. Wang Kai shrugged and smiled casually. Congratulations to the host for successfully boasting. You've obtained 100,000 experience and 100 boasting points. Millions of disciples and the weakest is a hierarch? When he said that, Lu Tian and the others were speechless. If the weakest is a hierarch, then how strong is the strongest? Could it be that he's a sovereign? Even Xiaoyun felt a bit awkward at this moment. Although he knew that this pickup master of his loved to brag, he didn't think that he would actually use him as an example to brag. Moreover, he even bragged to such an exaggerated degree. I am Xiaoyun. Greetings to the Grand Elder and the Hall Masters. Xiaoyun's expression was rather respectful as he stepped forward and cupped his fists in greeting. Although his cultivation level was higher than Lu Tian's, he also knew that they were all the core experts of the sect led by Wang Kai. Haha, you flatter me. My name is Lu Tian. I am the first Grand Elder of the Discord sect. I hold an important position and have always considered myself as the future master of the Eight Desolate. Your bow proves that you have a very bright future. Lu Tian put his hands on his waist and laughed proudly. Yang Wei and the others also greeted each other with respect. They were extremely satisfied with Xiao Yun's humble attitude. On the other hand, Bai Yu didn't have the time to care about Lu Tian and the others. Instead, he directly came before Wang Kai and cupped his fists. Brother Wang, Sister Ling returned home last night and has been crying nonstop. She is still in grief. If Brother Wang is willing to marry the Bai family will definitely help Brother Wang deal with the Sky Emperor's censure. Sky Emperor's censure? Wang Kai's brows twitched when he heard that. His gaze flickered as he looked at him. He should be talking about the death of Hanlin Academy's headmaster Su and General Ho, right? Sister Ling Was she that unlikable girl from last night? TSK, Sect Master, it seems that it's not that you aren't strong, but that you're too strong. You didn't even get to enjoy, and you already made that girl unable to endure it. Lu Tian winked and grinned. Whoosh. The moment he said that, Bai Yu's face turned cold. He naturally knew the identity of Lu Tian and the others and knew their strength. It could be said that what happened last night wasn't a secret to the 5 great army camp. But from Bai Yu's point of view, Lu Tian and the others were extremely weak. Although they were hall masters in the Discord sect, they weren't good enough. Elder Lu, you have to be more respectful when you speak. Bai Yu said solemnly. He had suffered at Wang Kai's hands, he could not take it back, nor could he vent his anger. If even his subordinate could casually humiliate the Bai family's goddess, wouldn't the Bai family become the laughingstock of the 8 desolations? Be more respectful. The moment he said that, not only did Lu Tian's eyes shrink, even Yang Wei and the others had a cold glint in their eyes. Wang Kai shrugged his shoulders and stood quietly by the side. He didn't say anything to stop them, but looked at Bai Yu with a playful expression. Kid, where are you from? You dare to talk to your master Lu like that? Don't you want your anus anymore? Lu Tian sneered. Where are you from? Bai Yu sneered when he heard that. He glanced at them indifferently and did not make a sound. Instead, he looked at Wang Kai and cupped his fists. Brother Wang, the Heavenly Emperor's orders will soon reach the Heavenly Exterminating Army. The death of Hanlin Academy's principal Su Dingzhou, the death of the Ho family's temporary general and the 100 personal guards, the poisoning of the many military advisor apprentices, and the ghost soldiers and ghost generals on West Street who were heavily injured by Prince Lan. With all these crimes added together, I'm afraid Brother Wang won't be able to survive. Bang! Crack! What? In an instant, just as Bai Yu finished speaking, before Wang Kai could reply, his head suffered a heavy blow, and his body was directly sent flying. A stream of blood even spurted out from his mouth. Looking at the side of his face, there was already a fist imprint. His flesh was caved in and his facial bones were all shattered. Your master Lu is talking to you, and you dare to ignore me? Trying to act cool, are you courting death? Lu Tian frowned. His expression was unkind as he snorted, clenching his fists. He immediately walked towards Bai Yu. With regards to this, Wang Kai remained indifferent. Surprisingly, Xiao Yun also did not have the slightest intention of stopping them. Bastard! Brother Wang, the people in your sect treated me so disrespectfully, are you going to ignore them? Bai Yu crawled up. He raised his hand to wipe the blood on the corner of his mouth. His expression filled with rage and killing intent. Wang Kai shrugged his shoulders and smiled casually. How do you want this sect master to care? Help an outsider like you to act cool and punish this sect master's right-hand man? You don't seem to be in the right mind, Lu Tian, wake him up. Yes, sect master. Ah. Lu Tian laughed out loud and executed the silver moon 10 revolutions with a flip of his hand. In an instant, Lu Tian's cultivation realm rose from the Saint Reverend realm to the Immortal Reverend realm. Under the power of his bloodline, he once again reached the Hierarch realm. Although Bai Yu was a peak Immortal Reverend and relied on his bloodline to possess the fighting strength of a peak Hierarch realm. But now, the power of his bloodline was suppressed by Lu Tian and could not be used, thus he was still at the Immortal Reverend realm. You guys actually possess a secret technique that can suppress bloodline. Then Wang Kai, your fighting strength, could it be that you have reached the sovereign realm? This is impossible. What happened last night must be a rumor, it's all fake. Bai Yu sensed that he could no longer use his bloodline power, and the aura of Lu Tian, who was stronger than him, his heart instantly started to thump intensely. He originally thought that no matter how arrogant Wang Kai was, he would join hands with the Bai family under the threat of the Heavenly Emperor's punishment, but who would have thought that he did not have that intention? Furthermore, looking at Wang Kai's appearance, he did not even put the Heavenly Emperor in his eyes. Chapter 528. You're right, I am indeed not a sovereign realm expert. What happened last night must be a rumor because I am an 8 desolation sovereign. Oh no, I should be above that. Wang Kai placed his hands behind his back and smiled indifferently. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have obtained 100,000 experience points, bragging points, 100 points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to 5th grade Earthly Sovereign Realm. Bai Yu's face turned ferocious when he heard those words. He was furious that Wang Kai was toying with him. As a direct descendant of the Bai family, one of the 3 great aristocratic families, as the young master of the Bai family, one of the 3 great geniuses of the Central Wilderness, he should have enjoyed the flattery of everyone and had a bright future. However, when Wang Kai appeared, everything was broken. The 3 great geniuses of the Central Wilderness, in front of Wang Kai, could not even defeat his subordinates. As the young master of the Bai family, with his high status, even Wang Kai's subordinates could not suppress him. Sect leader, this person is at the peak of the Immortal Reverend realm. If we devour him, although it won't be of much use, we can still raise our strength a little. Qin Gui grinned and laughed softly. His blood-red pupils were filled with greed as he looked at Bai Yu. Regarding this, soul-devouring Ghost Emperor, White Bone Ghost King and Red Ghost were also looking forward to it. Devour? You want to devour me? Bastard! Bastard! A mere ghost cultivator hiding in Soul Break Valley dares to say that you want to devour me? Bai Yu was enraged when he heard those words. He immediately leaped up and sent a palm strike across the air. Bang! Rumble! Woo-woo! However, something that Bai Yu could not tolerate happened. Qin Gui also unleashed a secret technique that suppressed his bloodline. While raising his cultivation realm, it also surpassed his own. With just a single punch, Bai Yu's attack was completely disintegrated, and even his body was sent flying out. Plop! You all! Woo-woo! Bai Yu fiercely fell to the ground. He raised his head and clutched his chest, blood flowing from the corner of his mouth as he stared at Wang Kai and the rest. He never thought that he, one of the 3 great geniuses of Central Desolation, would actually be unable to defeat any of Wang Kai's subordinates. Don't swallow him for the time being. He still has some uses. Although it's not difficult for me to destroy the 3 big clans with my current strength, there are some things that I don't need to do personally. It's more comfortable to be a spectator, Wang Kai said with a playful smile. When the Ho clan and Wang clan joined forces, the strongest was an Empyrean. 2 Empyreans, the current Wang Kai did not care about them at all. But if they really made a move to destroy the Wang and Ho families, the Heavenly Emperor probably would not sit idly by. If the celestial emperor made a move to deal with him, he was afraid that he could only flee for his life. Perhaps he could not even escape. So, although Wang Kai was not afraid of the Wang and Ho families, he could not be too ruthless. With the Bai family's direct descendants' young master in his hands, he could threaten the Bai family to deal with the Ho and Wang families. Sect leader, since that's the case, why don't you let this person be this elder's servant? Recently, it's inconvenient for me to move around, and I'm lacking someone to serve me tea. Lu Tian squinted his eyes and laughed. Serve me tea. With that said, before Wang Kai could say anything, Bai Yu was already so angry that he spat out blood, his face pale with a tinge of green as he roared out, "Bastard! I'd rather die than—" What? Bang! Before Bai Yu could finish his words, Lu Tian stepped on him and stomped him into the ground, instantly causing his bones to creak. To be able to be this elder's servant, that's your honor. Since you're not willing, then this elder has changed his mind. You can be a dog. Watch this elder tie you up. Lu Tian grinned, his gaze unkind as he snorted. With that said, Lu Tian pulled the half-dead Bai Yu out from the ground, then took out a pitch-black chain and tied Bai Yu's neck up. Plop. Bai Yu was so angry that his eyes turned blood-red, his chest heaved up and down non-stop, and in the end, he fainted on the spot. Seeing Bai Yu, one of the three great geniuses of the central wilderness, in such a state, Xiao Yun, who was by the side, secretly sighed. Who would have thought that Bai Yu would become someone's servant, and even tied up and laid on the ground like a dog? His fate tells us, humans, we must never think too highly of ourselves, if not, the rest of our lives will be miserable. Tisk Tsk, one of the three great geniuses, Bai Yu, has become a dog. Even if he doesn't die, in the 8 desolations, there will be no place for him. This sect leader is still the most cautious one, humble and courteous, with a face full of smiles, treating people warmly like brothers. A person like this sect leader, no matter where I go, I will be loved and respected by everyone. Wang Kai shook his head and sighed. Congratulations to the host for successfully boasting, obtaining 100,000 experience, bragging points 100 points. Cautious? Humble and courteous? With a face full of smiles? And treating people warmly like brothers? When these words were spoken, not to mention Xiaoyun, even Lu Tian, Yang Wei and the others almost fainted when they heard it. They really wanted to tell Wang Kai, those morals are not related to you, all right? However, Lu Tian and the rest who knew their sect leader's temper, even if they wanted to say something, they did not dare to, afraid that they would be beaten up. That's right, sect leader's good name has spread far and wide. Who doesn't know, who doesn't know? The Discord sect will also be the future savior of the 8 desolations, the #1 sect that will lead the 8 desolations to greater prosperity. Green and red ghosts' eyes spun, as they hurriedly voiced out their praise. Haha, not bad, not bad, these words are reasonable, the two of you have a bright future. Wang Kai squinted his eyes and nodded with a smile, but his gaze was looking at the entrance of the military advisor department, secretly thinking, what would the punishment of the Heavenly Emperor be? Master, the apprentices of the military advisor department are all seriously ill at home. I'm afraid they won't have the chance to go to the reincarnation world this time. Ji Beichen and the soldiers of the Ji family have also been sent back. Master, if you want to go to the reincarnation world, it's impossible to do it in the military advisor department. It's even more impossible to go to the Ji family. Have you thought about which military camp you want to join? Seriously ill at home. Wang Kai immediately raised his eyebrows when he heard this. He naturally did not care about the apprentices of the military advisor department, but from Xiao Yun's words, it seemed that the Ji family was also hostile to him. Moreover, the Xiao family seemed to have the intention of recruiting him to join their camp. Now, the 5 camps, the Ho family, the Wang family, and the Bai family, had all provoked him. It would be difficult for the Ji family to coexist peacefully now. If he wanted to enter the reincarnation world through the soldier department, the Xiao family was indeed the best choice. However, Wang Kai did not want to do so. The poison that the apprentices of the military advisor department were poisoned is just diarrhea. No matter how weak their bodies are, 2 months is enough for them to recover. In this case, why can't they go to the reincarnation world? Wang Kai squinted his eyes, a look of curiosity on his face. Xiao Yun gently shook his head, cupped his fists and smiled. Master, you may not know, but the reincarnation world will open in less than 2 months. Today, the Heavenly Emperor will give out a task for the military advisor department and the soldier department to complete separately. The one who completes it the fastest and most perfectly will be one of the candidates to enter the reincarnation world. Chapter 529. The Sky Emperor had issued a mission? The Soldier Division and the Military Advisor Division had to complete the mission respectively. It was a competition to see who was faster and who could complete the mission perfectly. Wang Kai raised his eyebrows. In that case, the Military Advisor Division had no chance to enter the reincarnation realm. It would take at least a month for them to recover. How many slots are there to enter the reincarnation realm? Wang Kai shrugged and asked curiously. 3. 2 slots are for the Military Advisor Division and the Soldier Division. The last slot has been decided internally, Xiao Yun said with a smile. 3 slots? Damn it, one of them was decided internally? Wang Kai's face darkened. He said speechlessly, there are tens of thousands of people in the 5 military camp. Only 3 slots? One of them has been decided internally? Who came up with this idea? They are asking for a beating. Swoosh. The moment this was said, Xiao Yun's expression immediately changed. He quickly and cautiously scanned the surroundings. Seeing that no one had noticed him, he wiped the cold sweat off his forehead and said, Master, you can't speak carelessly. This is the Sky Emperor's order. Moreover, 3 spots don't represent 3 people, but 1 spot can accommodate an entire camp. 1 slot can accommodate 1 military camp? Damn it! Wang Kai raised his eyebrows when he heard this. In a military camp, there were 100 commanders. Each commander was in charge of 1,000 soldiers. Above the commanders, there were generals and personal guards. Moreover, if the 3 aristocratic families won, the experts from their respective families would also enter the reincarnation realm. The number of people would be at least 100,000. This was just 1 military camp. 2 slots meant 2 military camp. That meant more than 200,000 people. In addition to the internally decided slots, thinking of this, Wang Kai suddenly felt speechless. How big was the reincarnation world? How many treasures were there? How could hundreds of thousands of people fight for it? There are so many people. I'm afraid there will be a lot of bloodshed in the reincarnation realm this time? Wang Kai shrugged. A look of anticipation flashed across his eyes. If he could fight, Wang Kai would be more than happy to do so. Of course. When the time comes, each of the 10 Supreme Being forces will send 1,000 successors. As long as their cultivation is below the Supreme Being level, they will be able to enter. And when they come out, peak Empyrean-level powerhouses will be everywhere. Xiao Yun said with a solemn expression. Those below the supremacy realm could enter the reincarnation realm. When he came out, Empyrean powerhouses could be seen everywhere? Wang Kai frowned when he heard this. He still felt strange in his heart. He couldn't help but ask in a strange tone. Since those below the sovereign stage can enter, then there might be heavenly master-level powerhouses among the sovereign stage's descendants who enter? Since there can only be 10 supreme martial artists in the 8 barren lands, why would they enter the reincarnation realm when they are already celestial venerables? Could it be that the reincarnation realm will allow them to break through the rules of the 8 desolates and break through to the celestial venerate realm, and become the 11th celestial venerate? Of course not. In the 8 desolates, there could only be 10 supremes. If a supreme being doesn't fall, no one can step into the supreme being level. The successors of the supreme being forces enter the reincarnation realm only to fight and kill the successors of the other supreme being forces wantonly. Therefore, those from the heavenly court who enter the reincarnation realm won't be safe and sound. Xiao Yun said with a solemn expression. His eyes were filled with a strong desire to fight. As the leader of the 3 great geniuses of the Central Barren Land, Xiao Yun was also looking forward to being able to fight with the successors of the Supreme Being forces. Haha, in that case, the reincarnation realm this time will be able to raise one's cultivation level. More importantly, it will be a place for the 10 Supreme Being forces to compete with each other? Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and said with a playful smile. Until now, he still hadn't seen the successors of the Supreme Being forces or any powerhouses. Naturally, he didn't know how strong they were. However, in Wang Kai's opinion, he didn't take them seriously. If a Supreme Being didn't appear, who could be a match for them? Master is right. The 10 Supreme Being forces are already the peak of the 8 desolate. However, the Heavenly Court has always been the strongest. The other 9 Supreme Being forces also have their own rankings. Those who are ranked higher can order those who are ranked lower. This is the agreement and promise of the 10 Supreme Being forces. Therefore, every 10,000 years, the reincarnation realm will be opened during the change of power. This will determine the 10 Supreme Being forces. In the next 10,000 years, the Supreme Being forces' successors will also be determined to take over the position of the leader of the forces and reach the Supreme Being level. As Xiao Yun revealed the true purpose of the reincarnation realm, Wang Kai's blood was already boiling with excitement. To determine the rankings for the next 10,000 years, those who are ranked higher can order those who are ranked lower. If they could surpass the heavenly court, thinking of this, Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and said with a surprised expression, in that case, if the heavenly court is defeated, the position of the overlord of the Central Barren Land will be given to one of the other 9 Supreme Being forces? That's right. That's right. However, the heavenly court will not be defeated. In the past 90,000 years, the heavenly court has been ranked first 9 times in the reincarnation realm. They have never been defeated, Xiao Yun said proudly with pride in his eyes. As one of the forces under the heavenly court in the Central Barren Land, the Xiao family naturally enjoyed the glory of the heavenly court. To determine the rulers and rankings of the 10 Supreme Being forces in the 8 desolates, and to decide who the next leader of the Supreme Being forces will be. In that case, after the reincarnation realm, there will be 10 Supreme Being experts who will ascend to the position. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and his eyes sparkled. He could not help but have an idea in his mind. If he went against the heavenly sect and destroyed all the successors of the 10 Supreme Being forces, what kind of interesting thing would happen? Thinking of this, Wang Kai couldn't wait any longer. Why hasn't the Heavenly Emperor's order come down yet? Damn it, this bitch is so slow. When I have the time to go to the Heavenly Court, I will definitely give her a good spanking. Wang Kai shrugged and said with a casual smile. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 100,000 experience points and 100 bragging points. Wang Kai, if you can't help me this time and take the first place, then your disrespectful words and actions in the past will become the things you will regret the most for the rest of your life. As a harsh voice that could not be distinguished between a man and a woman gently floated into his ears, Wang Kai was suddenly stunned and his expression changed drastically. Damn it! You are. I am the ruler of the Central Barren Land, the current Heavenly Emperor of the Heavenly Court, Nangong Huowu. This time, you must kill the successor of the Heavenly Court, Nangong Jiu, in the reincarnation realm and kill all the successors of the Heavenly Court. If you can do it, I can help your Wang family to become a Supreme Being force in the 8 desolates without the scroll. Nangong Huowu. the current heavenly emperor, kill the successor of the heavenly court, Nangongjiu, and kill all the successors of the heavenly court. Hearing these words, Wang Kai's pupil shrank. He did not expect that his first communication with the heavenly emperor would be such a cruel and merciless order. Chapter 530. Nangongjiu and all the descendants of the heavenly court. They had the same surname as the Sky Emperor and were all descendants of the heavenly court. The Sky Emperor actually wanted to kill all of them. Was it because she did not want the next successor to appear? If that was the case, it seemed that even the Sky Emperor could not change the succession that happened once every 10,000 years. She could only kill all the descendants who could replace her. Why did she choose him to help her eliminate all the threats? Did she think that he was a murderous devil? Thinking of this, Wang Kai suddenly frowned and snorted with an unfriendly expression. Although I am very strong, very violent, and very awesome, I am very sorry. I have always been merciful and do not like to kill. I can't even bear to hurt the flowers and grass. So, you'd better find someone else. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 100,000 experience and 100 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the 6th stage of the earthly venerable realm. However, after waiting for a long time, there was no reply from the Sky Emperor. As a result, Wang Kai began to suspect the owner of the voice just now. Could it be an impostor who came to show off in front of me? Wang Kai's face suddenly darkened. He looked around fiercely, but other than the confused Lu Tian and the others, there were no other suspicious people. Master, you misunderstood. I did not mean to let you kill. I just want you to join the Shao clan camp. If necessary, you can suppress the other competitors with the strength of a heavenly venerable or a supreme venerable. Xiao Yun hurriedly cupped his fists and said. He had already taken the conversation between Wang Kai and the Sky Emperor as a conversation between him and the Sky Emperor. Wang Kai shrugged when he heard this. Looking at the empty military advisor department, he shook his head and sighed. Ai, why bother? Why did you all provoke this religion, master? Now you can't even go to the reincarnation realm. Forget it, since you can't go, I will go on your behalf. Leave the military advisor department to me. Swoosh. Hearing this, Lu Tian and the others were immediately excited. It would be best if they did not have to join forces with the Shao clan. After all, with the character of Lu Tian and the others, and even Wang Kai, it would be difficult for them to cooperate peacefully with the Shao clan, let alone obey the orders of the Shao clan's military camp. More importantly, the Dissing Heaven sect acted alone. They could do whatever they wanted without caring about the overall situation of the Shao family's camp. In the face of Wang Kai's tactful rejection, Xiao Yun could only helplessly shake his head. However, he still smiled and said, Master, if there's any trouble, the Shao clan will definitely help. Hearing this, Wang Kai narrowed his eyes slightly and glanced at this cheap disciple. He couldn't help but pat his shoulder and said, Yun, this time, the Shao clan will definitely have a spot in the reincarnation realm. When the time comes, all the beauties ahem, all the descendants of the supreme forces will enter. I will teach you well. Yes, master. Joy was hidden in Xiao Yun's eyes. In his heart, he really wanted to interact with the girl. However, until now, he hadn't succeeded. Moreover, the head of the Shao clan, Xiao Yun's grandfather, had been urging him to get married as soon as possible and pass down the Shao clan's descendants. In the end, when he heard about Wang Kai's deeds, he directly asked him to come and learn. However, until now, he hadn't been able to learn many moves. As for the moves in the Prime Minister's residence, Xiao Yun didn't dare to learn them at all. If he really did as Wang Kai did, he would definitely be hunted down. Well, the Heavenly Emperor will give out the task today. Let's wait here. Wang Kai shrugged and smiled with a rather indifferent expression. At first, he thought that the Sky Emperor would really punish him. Now, it seemed that he wouldn't. If the Sky Emperor really wanted to punish him later, it would prove that the voice transmission just now wasn't from the Sky Emperor himself. If he was safe and sound, it would prove that the voice transmission just now was from the Sky Emperor. After all, she still wanted him to destroy the descendants of the Heavenly Court. Why would she destroy him for the Ho clan? Master, let's go to the weapon department and wait. Xiao Yun hesitated for a moment and said awkwardly with cupped fists. As soon as these words came out, Wang Kai immediately raised his eyebrows. Looking at Xiao Yun's appearance of wanting to say something but not daring to, he felt more and more strange. What do you mean? Could it be that the Sky Emperor's mission won't be passed to the Military Advisor Department at all? Xiao Yun nodded bitterly. Afraid that Wang Kai and the others would be angry, he hurriedly waved his hand and said, Master, Elders, Hall Masters, please don't misunderstand. The reason we didn't come to the Military Advisor Department is because the apprentices are all seriously ill at home, so… bang. However, before Xiao Yun could finish speaking, Lu Tian furrowed his brows and slapped out, sending the tent flying. He snorted unhappily and said, How dare you! If the Military Advisor Department doesn't have the qualifications to pass the Sky Emperor's mission here, then so be it. But now, don't you know that the Discord sect is here? Don't you know that the sect leader is also here? Damn it! Elder is right. How dare you ask the sect leader and this hall master to personally go and listen to the Sky Emperor's order? The green and red ghosts snorted with an unfriendly expression. Hearing such words, Xiao Yun felt even more bitter. He secretly said that he shouldn't have explained at all just now. It was really because he met Lu Tian's group. The more he explained, the bigger the matter would be. As the high-end, cool, and awesome elders and hall masters of the Discord sect, how can we get angry so casually? They don't respect us, so we just have to go over and get rid of them, right? Wang Kai put his hands behind his back and said with a rather indifferent expression, Get rid of them? Get rid of them all? Whoosh! Lu Tian and the others were immediately in high spirits when they heard this, especially Yang Wei, whose eyes were burning with the flames of battle intent. Sect leader is right. Since they dare to be pretentious and disrespect the Discord sect, then we'll get rid of them all. Lu Tian put his hands on his waist and laughed. Let's go. I can't wait any longer. I hope the people from the Heavenly Court are stronger. Yang Wei clenched his fists and said, Hee, I'll swallow some. Looks like I'll have to raise my cultivation again. Green Ghost grinned and laughed softly. Red Ghost also echoed with a face full of smiles. They can only blame themselves for choosing the wrong person to act pretentious with. They're too blind. As Lu Tian and the others followed Wang Kai and left one after another, Xiao Yun was already dumbfounded on the spot, unable to recover for a long time. Especially when he saw that Bai Yu was being dragged by Lu Tian with chains on the ground. Master, Elders and Hall Masters, please don't be like this. The corner of Xiao Yun's mouth twitched fiercely. Looking at the aggressive appearance of Wang Kai and the others, it was obvious that they were here to seek revenge and cause trouble. His face turned green. He simply wanted to slap himself a few times. What did he say wrong? What nonsense was he explaining? He even had to explain that someone had died. Come, Yun. Master will teach you a secret technique that won't be passed down. This secret technique is something that I haven't even taught to Lu Tian and the others. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and hugged Xiao Yun, who had hurriedly caught up. What secret technique? Xiao Yun was stunned when he heard this. He could not help but swallow the words that he wanted to say. Pretentious. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.